Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. Happy Monday, guys. It's a Monday following a fun, thrilling weekend that brought not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but six of the BCJ faithful there in attendance at beautiful, historic Nippert Stadium to take in one said scrimmage of the fall practice. Coach Scott Satterfield in year one. It was a dandy, I tell you. We're going to rehash that here. And, of course, also it's a Monday following week one of the preseason in the NFL. Plenty of Bearcats in the NFL. The hashtag. That's right, Aaron, the hashtag. It's also a Monday following another week down in the books, getting ready for basketball season, a little bit of a leakage of the non-conference slate for Wes Miller heading into year three. And, of course, it's also a Monday, kind of an interesting Monday, a Monday where one is at volleyball practice, getting ready to return and join. Another is joining the BBP for the first time after writing beautiful article after beautiful article on the BCJ. And then another who is here freshly eating pasta done full, and another back in Athens after a week in the nasty. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome in two of those guys. Only two so far. That's right. Aaron Smith, Ryan Royer. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm doing all right. Like you said, it was a weekend, not a week in Cincy for me. Just
correct.
A couple days.
Okay.
Got some family time. Got B with some grandma time, and also got to bring a couple of these back home.
Woo!
So
I had my first of those too.
Oh yeah,
Believe it or not.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I like it, man. It's a more flavorful light beer. I kind of contributed
I agree.
to a little bit of a Miller Lite Heineken mashup a little bit.
Wow.
Just to I don't know. I like it. Grant, I don't know if I could drink like 8 of them, but I could drink like 2 or 3 and just relax with them.
Well, you're generally not a beer guy though. You're more of a tequila guy, right?
I do love beer, I have to admit, but
Okay.
just
You're
depends
telling
on the
me
night.
a crisp fall afternoon, you're not going to crack down and bury 15 of those before heading into the historic Nippert Stadium? Come on now.
Maybe on my way into Morgantown, man. That's a beer weekend.
I agree.
Morgantown's going to be a beer weekend.
I absolutely agree. Pittsburgh
$12.99 is robbery.
for a 12-pack.
Ryan guys did it again, though. It's great. I love it. And you got the little Easter egg on the bottom, too. That's good.
That was awesome.
I was drinking out of the tap, though. I one out of the tap, one out of the can. Tap's obviously better.
Where were you at,
Always
Ryan
listen.
Guys itself? Or
I was at the Oak.
the Oak?
The Oak Tap, or somewhere in Oakland. I don't know what the hell that place is called.
The Oak. Good chicken wings at the Oak.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I got there when the kitchen closed. I didn't.
Pretty sure that's a Cleveland Brownies bar, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
I know Mio's is Brownbacker.
Okay. Oh baby, oh baby, the old
Don't
Brownies.
get me started, man. The pain.
Don't
I've
get
seen
you
in that
started.
place.
The pain. But Aaron, what are your thoughts on the old crispy Cincy Light? How many did you take down this weekend?
I think between the 2 nights I was drinking, the better part of a 12-pack, but I wasn't trying to get. I was hanging out with family. I wasn't trying to forget my name or anything. So,
I mean, every day that ends in Y is a good day to forget your name. I'll tell you that much. But
those
You're not-
sneak up on you with the family, though.
that's. It was.
Next
It
thing
was
you know,
we
you're
just,
the drunk uncle.
just relaxed. I've been that. I didn't need that this weekend.
I witnessed the drunk uncle one time. It was spectacular. It was spectacular. The man was looking at the sky. Just
was it the the night at Chad and for Kelly?
No, that was a different night.
There's more.
Multiple. We'll call it numerous occasions. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. But yeah, it was fun. Yeah, Matt Lanham agreed. Best chicken wings at the Oak. Pretty doggone good. Had them there one time. But yeah, I still haven't tried Cincy Light. I'm excited to bury my my face in numerous cans as the as the fall continues to inch near. Aaron, I didn't go there, but you know what, guys, fall is near. Felt it a little bit outside today. It was crisp here in Indy. I don't know what the temp was there in Cincy or all the way in Athens, but fall was in the air. Even though it'll be 90s next week, obviously the way the Midwest does things, but you can really tell it's football season. 2 weeks from this Saturday, the Bearcats will be back out there on the football field. We are going to have Keegan Nickerson on later, as well as Chad joining the squad after he gets done with whatever volleyball situation he's got going. But man, it's a good time as ever to dive in and really bury ourselves in what is going to be all football talk, especially leading into that first week one. But Royer, this weekend was also, what signifies to you the beginning of football? Is it when the team goes to higher ground? Is it the Hall of Fame game there in Canton? Is it maybe the week 0, as they call it now in college football? What really signifies the start of football for you?
For me, I mean, football is year round in college, so
Yeah.
you that first excitement really hits is when you see the first high school game and then college game, because now they line up and they're like, wow, football's back. I don't know why the Canton game never really gets it going for me, but kind of seeing high school and college football get going, that's when I really feel that the season's really here, man. And it's after that, what is it now? Was it 13? The best 13 weeks of the year?
Oh baby,
So,
the best, absolutely.
yeah.
God damn, we're back. What about you, Aaron? Is it the first time you hear the that tune on the old Hard Knocks on HBO, or the Max as they call it now? Is it maybe when the ball is snapped at that first fall camp practice? What signifies the start of football for you, Aaron?
When I make it to higher ground at this point, that's for me when I get out there and it's all starting at that point, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the reason why I say this is because the start of football gets you too excited. Sometimes when you get too excited, you might, dive into a pothole. You might scuff up the side of a rim. You might hurt the front carriage of your beautiful Grand Am. And before you know it, you're gonna have to get some fixings done. You're gonna have to head over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. That's right, Danco Joe will hook you up. He's gonna get you ready for football time, get you ready for the tailgates, get you ready for the trip to good old beautiful Clifton. You get ready to watch the Bearcats in year 1 of the Big 12, year 1 with Coach Scott Satterfield, year 1 with Emory Jones at quarterback. That's right. Head on over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Mention Ryan, Aaron, Chad, Keegan, Reagan, Dave. Mention them all. Just say that BCJ sent you, the BBP sent you, and Danco Transmission and Auto Care. $10 off next oil change, 10% off your next fixing. Hit them up. Danco Transmission and Auto Care. But Royer, that's right. A whole ensemble of BCJ faithful was in attendance at Nippert this past Saturday. You tried to make it, but things happen here and there. But you're going to be able to get your glimpse of the Bearcats without here soon, especially EKU, less than 3 weeks away. It's insane. But kind of, what have you been able to really feel as just kind of as an observer? And then do you have any questions kind of to pose to the class? Let you be teacher for the time being. Let you step up to the podium and throw out some dingers to us.
So I've been mentioning this. I just kind of feel like there's positive momentum building week after week. Just seeing things, hearing things about guys, coaches, everyone kind of stepping up and rising to the occasion. Everyone getting better, getting comfortable. So that's I'm just but still part of me is just nervous, because you don't know these guys, you don't know a lot of the players, you don't know a lot of the coaches. You do have some.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just you're nervous, man, especially being an alumni. Like, you want your team to be like, you want them to win, you want them to play well, have a good culture, and represent your team. I'm confident they will, but it's just the unknown. And being that I can't make it out to higher ground, I got to work in my damn cubicle. You know how much I love that shit. So I don't get to go see it and kind of watch ball and kind of see guys go out there and like see who the real ball players are, the guys who are the budding stars, and that kind of leads me into, I guess, question one I was kind of having is who are the up and coming guys, like who are your future stars of the team? And if you could give me like transfer wise and then like young guy wise.
Okay.
So
okay, Aaron, I'll pass down to you for that first.
Well, I'm going to go with the layup, the easy one. Braden was, yeah, Braden, easy last name. We're family. Come on, man. But Braden is electric. The fact that he is also on being looked at as a kick returner, or at least punt returner, if not both. Anytime he's got the ball in his hands, he's trying to do something, and more often than not, he's doing something. We've even seen highlights since the scrimmage where he has been there at the deep ball, and he's been getting shit done. So it's been good to see a guy that came with them from Louisville already just injecting himself into the system. He was late as he was not here during spring practice, and just him being able to seemingly pick up the offense from where he left off at Louisville has been nothing short of fun to watch. And then another name I'll throw out as I'm on the receivers, and I'll let you go after this, Brent. Xavier Henderson. Xavier Henderson. We'll make sure to pronounce both the X and the Z as he spells it, not as the Muskies do. But he's going to be a guy, again, just gets that separation, especially late in the go route. He's taller than I anticipated, I guess. Kind of reminds me of the kid from last year. Help me out here, Brent.
From Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But another player that is just fun to watch, gets that separation, and has been making plays all over the place already. So good to see. And he has been taking some snaps at the gunner spot. So I know we are a big gunner podcast.
We are a Gunners podcast. Yes, that's correct.
Hi, Keegan.
So
are you talking about Nick Mardner?
Yes, that was the name
Mardner.
I was looking for. Thank you. Marcus hit me in the chat
Nicky
here
Mardner.
too. So
Nicky Mardner took his talents to
Auburn.
How quickly he was here. A cup of coffee, if you will.
I mean, shoot, he was. I liked his game. I feel like maybe a little underutilized at times, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. But yeah, Nick Mardner, just a beast at wide receiver. But Keegan, welcome on to the BBP for the first time. You made a quick change, new setting. You look great. Keegan, how are we?
Good. I was having some Wi-Fi issues, so I'm here. I'm ready to talk about camp. I'm excited.
There you go. Ryan hit us with a good question opening wise. You know, we're kind of going to let Ryan take the podium, kind of throw out questions, and then I'm going to get you also some more to tag on at the end. The first question was transfers and young players. Who's potential rising star, whether it be this year or years upcoming? Aaron mentioned Braden Smith, obviously, and then, of course, just mentioned Xavier Henderson, who, I mean, that was one thing I thought too, Aaron, was he's a lot taller than I thought. You know, I thought Donovan Ollie was going to be the taller of the two. That's not the case. Xavier Henderson sticks out height-wise. You know, he's a little slight, but he's definitely extremely fast, extremely athletic, but he's tall. He is tall. And Keegan, I'll let you take it. I've got a couple of names I'll kind of hold back, but yeah, go ahead.
I think I like the Xavier Henderson idea. I think he's been mainly working with the second strings so far in camp, but I think this opportunity with D. Wiggins and Evan Prater kind of nursing injuries, it's going to be a big week for him trying to learn the scheme and show that he can really contribute on that first string with Emory Jones. I think on the defensive side, a transfer that's not getting talked a lot and has been trending up, especially the past week, is DJ Taylor at safety. He had a really, really good day today, rushing the passer. He was very good. I think he had a sack. And then in coverage, he's been really good. I mean, it's a Power 5 type defensive back. And I think that's the main thing when a lot of people take shots at this team, if they're going to be able to contribute at Power 5 or not. But they have a lot of transfers that have a ton of Power 5 experience.
Pick 6 on Saturday as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think kind of shifting into that Power 5, it's just going to be smooth in terms of them being able to compete at that level. And then Jordan Young, I think he carries himself with a real veteran attitude. And he has a chance to be a lockdown corner for this team. He's getting a lot of good work against Braden Smith, D. Wiggins, and Xavier Henderson. So I think at that lockdown spot, Jordan Young could have a really good year.
I'm going to roll out. And, I mean, obviously his name's known because he's a starter and he's been talked about a lot. But Dorian Jones, man, he had a couple hits on Saturday that you could hear pretty loud and clear. You hear him in a packed Nippert as well. The way he's a thumper, man. The way he comes in and kind of just lays the boom, Brian, you'll like that. He's an aggressive hitter. He's they nicknamed him Debo, so that kind of explains him. But he's going to be a guy that obviously rushes the passer and it kind of fits that aggressive Coach Brown scheme. And obviously, coming from Louisville, he was a step ahead of everyone else on the defense, and he continues to really carry that torch. Let's roll into younger players that have caught your eyes. And I was only there on Saturday, and I've just been reading your reports, Keegan, and Chad's reports, and listening to different interviews and podcasts and nightcaps. But I mean, how can you not be excited for the future potential of Brady Drogosh, man? For me, when it comes to college quarterbacks, I love a quarterback that looks like the BMOC, that just has that look to him that that guy's a quarterback. And that's exactly what Brady Drogosh is.
How did you just rip off the acronym like that?
Man, come on now.
Were you listening to Shane Gillis' podcast today?
No, I was not. Why was he?
He literally said the same shit. He was ripping the BMOC, and I was like, "Who says that?" And
really?
Of course, you're ripping it now. So.
The big man on campus, baby. That goes all the way back to high school for me. We were all like, we are all BMOCs. We're football players.
After you went to your manners school.
Yeah, Cotillion school. Yeah, Cotillion. Hey man, you learn a lot at those things. I'll tell you that much.
You learn how to be the big man at the table.
Yeah, I used to spill shit all over me. My whole shirt was just covered, and so my parents said, "You're going to Cotillion. You learn how to dance. I got the foxtrot. I got the tango. I swing. I can do it all." But
he knows what to do with that third fork and that third spoon that no one else has a clue what to do with.
When you're scooping out like the very end of your soup, you feel like you might want to scoop like that, but no, you're supposed to tilt the bowl away from you and scoop away from you and then go like that.
I lose the silverware and I drink it out of the bowl. That's the way to do it.
Let's be honest. I haven't done the away from me scoop since Cotillion, so it was money well spent, Mom and Dad. Thank you.
And Ryan just eats soup with his hands. So.
Yeah. Say good soup. Good soup.
Soup's really good.
Good soup. But let's go young players catching eyes. Brady Drogosh, baby. I tell you what, man, that Ryan 99-yard run, and he didn't even get touched. The dude torched people. Sure, maybe he got a fingertip on him and maybe a push into the end zone at the end, but I mean, the dude's got wheels. He looks good throwing the football. I'm sure obviously that's a development for any young quarterback is actually just touch.
Was the touchdown on the 2s or the 3s? It's a critical question.
I was probably a mix of the 2s and 3s.
Okay,
definitely.
I know the 3s, and if you're out running the 3s,
then it's not
too much hype.
Well, right. I mean, if this helps you out, Taj Ward,
3, so I can say it.
Taj Ward got a hand on him at about the 5 as he was going into the end zone.
Who was blocking for him on that play? Because someone laid a pretty good block at like the 30.
Yeah, there was someone all the way down there. I was on the complete opposite end, at the goal line where they were going from, so I didn't see the end, but I was like, wow, that guy's fast. But I didn't see who was blocking. But
Taj can move, man. So if he's keeping Taj at
I'm sorry, it wasn't Taj.
It was
Todd Bumphus.
Todd
Bumphus. Yeah.
Yeah, he can move too. So
But he's
no,
not running
He's-
with the threes,
he's
is my
skating.
point.
Yeah, I got you.
Bryce Burton was in at middle linebacker. He outran him to the right. So
Oh
But,
shit! Now we're talking some ball, man. We're talking
nah,
some
but
serious ball, man.
but no, I mean that was impressive within itself. But he just has that kind of confidence, that kind of like air about him, where I mean, it's going to be a growing process. But when you got like a young, exciting player like that, and you got 4 games to burn before burning the red shirt, I'm sure we'll see a lot of moments of him where, wow, like flash plays. We might see a little bonehead play here and there, just a freshman play, if you will. But overall, I walked away even more impressed than I was coming into it, and I was already impressed with Brady Drogosh from the jump.
I think the interesting thing about him is if Pete Thomas can bring him along, because the thing about Brady is his ceiling. His ceiling is so incredibly high.
Right.
If he can go under Pete Thomas's wing and he can develop Brady Drogosh into a really good quarterback, the launching pad for Pete Thomas's career is just going to go through the ceiling.
Oh yeah.
We're talking offensive coordinator jobs, potentially like NFL jobs, head coaching jobs. But so if he can really just bring all that together and tie Brady Drogosh up, I think the impact that can have is like endless.
Well, even so, he's able to turn Emory into a really strong final year close out his career the way that many anticipated him to start it. So yeah, Pete Thomas has a lot of upside. And you interviewed Pete today, so that's a good segue there. But how about younger dudes that have kind of caught your eye, Keegan, and then Aaron, we'll shift down to you.
He's not necessarily a younger dude, but it's more of a guy that we've seen very little of. And I think Miles Montgomery, as Aaron said it on Saturday, can be that Jerome Ford for this team. One cut, breakaway speed, and he's gone. I've seen it probably 4 to 5 times in fall camp where he hits a hole and then he's down the sideline or he's through the middle of the defense, just running to the end zone. I
got a question for you on that run, Keegan, because Chad brought it up on Saturday night when we did our nightcap. He said that there was supposedly he heard from the sideline from a good source that there was a hold by the offensive line on that play. And I said,
the defensive sideline.
My retort to that is there were 6 refs out there, and I saw no yellow flags. So if you're going to bring in refs and then you're still going to try and say that there was a penalty on it, look, man, I don't believe there was a penalty in my estimation if it's not called when you have 6 refs out there.
Especially in a game where the flags are being thrown just about as much as a Luke Fickell coach game. So those flags are getting tossed out quite a lot.
I could I could see that being a legitimate argument if every holding is called on every play that has ever played in football.
There's holding every play.
Yes, that's like people say there's holding every play, and there's probably holding on the majority of rushing plays.
The only reason I brought it up was because there was a hole the size of Texas that he ran through that was allegedly, I did not see it. I just, look,
6 refs.
I'm just telling you what was relayed to me by one of the great broadcasters of our generation. If Dan Horde says there was a hold on the play, then there was probably a hold on the play.
I was going to say, I didn't know Brian Brown was in broadcasting too, but yeah.
It's like if Joey Votto doesn't swing, it's not a strike.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I'm just saying, Miles Montgomery hit the giant hole and ran through it and ran for a touchdown. And you guys know I'm a Miles Montgomery guy. I love Miles Montgomery.
If there hadn't been, I think there were probably a good 12, 15 flags thrown that day on 120. Okay, so there you go. Actual number. On 120 plays, it wasn't as if they weren't calling penalties.
I'm just telling you, somebody that was on the other side that saw a different angle than we did felt that there was a hold.
Now that I heard that Dan Horde said it, I might have to reconsider.
He's going to get fined now. Way to go.
Did Jim Kelly agree?
Jim wasn't standing with Dan at that point, I don't think. So
we'll never
know.
We'll never
Jim was on the other side of the field, I think. So it is what it is. Like it's not a big deal. It's a scrimmage. It's a great run.
Keegan. I did interrupt your whole train of thought on Miles. I'm sorry.
No, I was
Chad
pretty.
just leave?
Yeah, he just came in to chastise me for saying
He'll be
Miles
back.
Montgomery.
He'll be back.
And then he leaves.
God bless.
I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, he's been in the
Here
waiting
longer
room.
than I
Just
have.
I'm
he's
letting
been
Keegan cook. Like we invited Keegan on. I'm letting him get his run. Like it's
Chad was sitting back and being like, "Look
Let
at
the
what
boy
I built
eat.
here." At
Come
I'm
on.
just
BCJ."
saying, as a producer, I have been in text contact with Chad, making sure he didn't want in.
Look at what I've done with this BCJ.
No,
Right,
but
keep
I
going,
was
Keith.
pretty much done. But I think he has a very legitimate chance. I think he's going to end up being the bell cow, and then Corey Kiner is going to be the big package, short yardage guy, which he should be. And he's also made a lot of progress in the receiving game. About Kiner has. So I think, the 14-yard run he had in that
Nasty.
overtime period Saturday was awesome. So I think it's a really good two-headed monster that they have running the ball.
Did you watch any of Miles' high school tape back in the day, Keegan?
No, but all I know is that he was super fast.
It was weird. So like he would always have that burst and stuff, but it never seemed like he hit that, fifth gear as much as you would expect him to. But he did it on the 75-yard run. He had another long one today that you're mentioning. So it's sounding like he has developed that part of his game as well, kind of that home run hitting mentality.
Yeah, he said today that that's his fastball. And he talked about like the fastballs of all the running backs, like doing the thing that you do best. And he just talked about his burst as his fastball.
Oh, yeah. And Aaron, go ahead. Youngster that's kind of caught your eye.
Well, I'm going to go to the other side of the ball. And the two guys that I wanted to point out were actually young Kalen Carroll and Oliver Bridges, because between the two practices that I've been to, each of them has had an interception. Each of them has had a pass breakup. And honestly, Kalen Carroll probably should have had a second interception instead of a pass breakup. Should have gone for pick six during the scrimmage. He just kind of showed why he's a cornerback instead of a receiver. And that'll happen from time to time. But at the end of the day, these two young kids are making plays for a secondary that we weren't really sure what we had between the ones on the secondary, and now even with the twos, we weren't sure what the depth was going to look like at the secondary. And some OLIs I had on that note were also Ken Willis and what he's been doing at the star position, and also the run that Tyler Gillison has been getting with the ones and the twos.
I agree. Chad, you want to hop in? Give us some names real quick.
No, I'm good.
All right. Royer.
Transfer, a guy that I have been, I don't know what his role will end up being because Dorian Jones and Jack Dingle are pretty entrenched in those two middle linebacker spots. Mm-hmm. But Deion Hunter has been flashing with the ones when he's had a chance, mostly with the twos. So that's a transfer name that I just, maybe a lot of people aren't really talking much about, that I think could have, a contributing role as the season goes on. Young guys, Jamal Williams has really started to turn the corner and make some plays. The thing I want to see from Jamal more is consistency. He had one huge day and then has kind of, been sporadic since then. So I want to see a little bit more consistency from him. I agree with Gillison. Both of those guys have flashed a little bit. I'm gonna throw a name out there that I was talking to some people about today. That it sounds like the staff is growing in their belief and trust in a young tackle, and that is Ethan Green, who has been the second team right tackle for a couple days now. And they like the size, they like the way he can move. He's a wrestler, so he's got that toughness. I'm going deep. Yeah, I'm going deep cut here because I don't know that it's going to be this year. that we see that from him, but I do think there's a chance that down the road, they're also very high on Evan Tengestal in terms of young offensive linemen. So there's a couple names in the trenches for the people.
Evan Tankstall, very physical, if you will.
Physical.
Plays through the whistle, if you will.
Correct.
No doubt about that. Chelsea, real quick, asking about Ryan Montgomery. Just a model.
He's been the number one back with the twos. I think the running style, the running system is a little bit more suited to Corey and Miles. But what do we know about Ryan Montgomery? And Royer will attest to this. He hasn't been given much of a shot, like preseason in any of his years here. And he just consistently seems to find a way to get the job done.
Yep.
So I'm not counting out
to use
Ryan
the term
Montgomery.
Cockroach.
Yeah, it's like Jarrell White. Like they tried Jarrell's too small. We're gonna try somebody else there. Like and every year Jarrell White was just a monster leading the team in tackles. So he definitely fits that cockroach moniker. And like I'm not going anywhere.
And go back to Royer's senior year in Tampa at the home of the Buccaneers. Ryan Montgomery with one of the better runs in the past 20 years of Bearcat football. You remember that run, Ryan? That game kind of sucked, but that was a good one to kind of put the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that just shows his crazy talent. Ryan can catch, he can run, he can make you miss open field, he can make you miss in the inside the tackles, and he can just run with power. So I agree with Chad. Chad was cutting in and out there. I couldn't really hear everything he was saying, but I just heard him talk about Ryan Montgomery, and a guy we can't forget about. Serious talent, great dude, great running back. Hopefully I'm on par with what he was asking me to say, but I couldn't hear a lot of it.
You are. Well, go ahead and throw out the next question, Mr. Roy.
All right, this one's. I was wondering, like we were just talking about players, but we got all these new coaches. So I'm wondering if you could give out best like MVP coach or like coach that you think has done a great job and just kind of stood out from all the other coaches. And because we got all these new players, like I said, but we got all the new coaches, and these coaches, they bring their own shit, they bring their own culture, they bring their own ways of doing things. And Fickle staff, it was kind of very much like a hive mind centered around like Coach Fickle and Coach Brady's culture. So I was wondering how this new staff kind of what their take on like coaching is, and who do you think was standing out the most?
Aaron, to you. We'll go around the circle.
Well, I'm going to go a little outside the lines on this one, and I'm going to say for me it's what Zach Grant and Jack Griffith and their staff has been able to do in regards to putting together this island of misfit toys for this team. I mean, they got to Cincinnati after a lot people had already put together their recruiting classes. The transfer portal was already open at that point in time, I believe, by the time they were in position. And so they were kind of, I don't want to say scraping at the bottom of the barrel, but I guess the metaphor fits. So I think they did a lot with the little amount of time that they had. And I'm super anxious to see what they're able to do with a full recruiting cycle, and also with a full transfer window, and just what they're able to do, because I think they did a hell of a job with the amount of time that they were given in putting together this team the way that it's currently assembled. So that's my MVP right now, before we've even seen an actual snap in a game that means something from this team.
Keegan, you've been right there interviewing pretty much all of them. Who's you don't have to throw out one in particular, but maybe a couple that have kind of jumped off the page for you.
I think in terms of probably the best interview that I got, I'll give him props for that, but also just for landing the highest recruit of the class. Darrell Sims has done a really good job. And I think it's interesting to see how he's kind of won the trust of the running backs that stayed here at Cincinnati. and he's had to kind of coach them, and they've all just talked about how much he came in and he just taught them because it's such an eager to learn group. But landing Jason Patterson is huge. And then kind of implementing this zone run scheme, working with Nick Cardwell, the offensive line coach in Satterfield. It's a big challenge. But right now it seems like it's working, at least in fall camp. And we're not going to know if it's legitimate until the season starts. But he's making a lot of momentum. And then you got to go Kerry Combs, dude. I mean, I've just never seen a coach that is as insane as he is. I find it really interesting that he doesn't cup his mouth when he wants to like be loud. He goes the side of his face to amplify his voice. But how he's developed Sammy Anderson into a potential starter, working with Jordan Young, DJ Taylor, all those guys. He's got Jabril White, who's just being fast-tracked to try to be a safety in this defense. You have to give him credit for the energy he brings every day, and then also just how good of a coach he is, how legendary of a coach he is.
He's also been a huge anchor in the recruiting program, especially in the state of Cincinnati. So,
and the holdover of the culture from one regime to the next.
And recruits tell me that's really attractive to them that he was willing to stay because they see that it's something about the city and the school itself that's special, and not just the coaching staff that was there.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Nick Cardwell. I thought his interview with Chad was great. I think just watching, pre-game, if you will, pre-scrimmage on Saturday, kind of the different drills he has the offensive line doing. It's unlike something that we've really seen. It's kind of like a pulling guard drill that they do, kind of getting the every single offensive lineman out to the outside to fit the scheme and whatnot. It's really exciting to see kind of the different approach he has. I like to mention to Sims. Each one of the coaches seems like, the on the field and off the field type guy, but Sims definitely kind of echoed that quite a lot in the article that you wrote, and just listening to him talk as well. But I gotta say, Nico Palizzetti, baby, put it up on a platter for me to run away with it. Our boy Nico, good catching up with the guy on the field, especially afterwards. We got to get Nico on the pod before it's all said and done, before the season straps up. But Nico, man, just the way that everyone mentions Nico and what he's been able to do in the offseason, gotta give a homer call.
Maybe next Monday we might see Nico for one final time before the season.
Nico, Chad, go ahead and round out this the question that old Royer posted.
I think I'm going to go Pete Thomas. I think we've seen a lot of progress from Emory Jones from the spring to the summer. He's been a lot more consistent at Camp Higher Ground than he was here initially, which means he's getting clearly a better feel for what he's got and a better feel for incorporating those guys into the offense. And I think he's, as Keegan mentioned, he's got a very bright star ready to take off in this business. So I think he has done a really good job. Plus, he got Samaj Jones, which was their number one guy coming in, landing in Cincinnati. That was the guy that they had circled at the top of their board. We need to make this happen. They made it happen. Like that says something to me. So I'll go Pete. Plus he's been on, he's been on with us on the network already.
Friend of the network, baby.
I like friends of the network. So I'll go Pete Thomas.
There you go. Royer, you're back.
New question.
All
right, number three. All right. Kind of like I was talking about, knew this.
What do we got? Is this gonna be a regular thing? Like, do I have to name this segment where you come up with questions every week? Because I'll name it and sell that shit. I will.
Chad has seen money just go down the drain right now, and he's getting mad about it.
It's like, damn it! I should have thought of this earlier.
No, I just I'm sitting here as you guys are all talking and going through this, and the way that my mind works, I'm like, we could turn this into like a weekly thing.
Deep thoughts from Ryan's cubicle.
Or getting right with Royer.
Ooh, all
Exploring.
How about Royer wants to know?
Riffin with Royer?
Ooh.
Royer-
Sponsored by Labco.
Yeah.
Riffin Rally Ryan Royer. I love a good alliteration. Keegan was
This
catching
week.
up on that.
What does Royer want to know?
Yeah, Chad, you were
everything.
gone. Keegan had to go to a new setting. I figured I'd text old Ryan and say, hey man,
I like this
get a little
segment.
list
Like,
of
I think
questions
this is
and let's rock.
this is some really good content here on the BBP. So this might be something that we want to continue. It gives Ryan his own thing.
Yeah.
Like, it gives Ryan his little space. I like it.
It might only be available for like 1 or 2 more weeks because then it'll be just game days. And
No,
Royer
but
will be
like
catching the
Royer
action.
Royer can write questions on the game.
Yeah, true.
And like we
True.
have our Royer wants to know segment. Like Royer sees something, he wants to know our thoughts.
Yeah.
On what he saw, and that
Okay.
doesn't mean like Ryan can answer his own questions. It doesn't have to be Ryan asks the questions and we answer. Like Royer can ask a question and give us his answer to the question as well.
The Red Robin Riffin Rally Ryan Royer.
No,
Stupid, man.
you're so mean.
Good, Aaron. That's excellent producing. I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna Venmo you $25.
Oh no.
Somebody donate $25 that I can send to Aaron. Thank you.
So what's your next question, Ryan?
This one's more broad. It could be anything. Anything
Prince
that
in
has to do
timeout.
with what you've seen at Higher Ground or at just anything with the staff, the players, just your biggest surprise, like something you weren't expecting, because it's a lot of new stuff. There's some that really.
You know what
how
stands
things
out
are
to me,
ran.
Ryan? What stands out to me is I don't see a drastic change in the culture.
And that's
I mean,
a big
guys
surprise.
it's not a surprise, but it's a new like that's the one thing that like are they going to be able to maintain the standard that was set? Like, are guys still going to go out to Higher Ground and get after it? Like, is it going to be the same type of intensity and performance and expectation that Luke established here? And so far, I've seen that. Like, I see guys every day out there getting after it. And for me, a perfect example is Friday. You've had a long week out at Higher Ground. You're going back to campus on Saturday. You've got a scrimmage on Saturday. Guys get to see their families. They get to sleep in their own beds. Maybe get to see their first girlfriend. Get to see their girlfriend for the first time in 10 days or whatever the case may be. Like, that's a scenario where that Friday practice can be a mess. And I think Keegan would agree. I thought Friday was one of the better practices at camp.
Yeah.
So I like that speaks to me on the culture that is being continued, that is carrying from the last staff through the veteran leadership into this staff. Now, this is also something that can change over time as guys that are, because the leaders of this team are guys that were, established in that culture. So it makes sense that it's easy to carry it on now. We'll have to see as, the younger guys move up and the transfers move up. Do they continue that? But you can't carry it over if it doesn't carry over now. If you lose it now, it's really hard to get back. And I've seen that. So I think for me, that would be something I was looking for that is has kind of checked that box. I don't know that it's a surprise, but it was on the list of like, let's see how when it gets tough, let's see how these guys respond. And so far, today was so hard to tell because it rained for an hour and a half, like a pretty steady, annoying, consistent rain. The offense was dreadful today. So many drops, so many balls through guys' hands. Like, they just never found a rhythm in the elements. But I really like what I've seen to this point.
Kind of piggybacking off of that real quick, is just the fact that the media continues to be allowed the same access that they had with Luke Fickell, which that wasn't something that Scott Satterfield had done previously. And I only found that out through conversations that I had while I've been at the different practices that I've been at. So just another hat.
Oh no, I knew about it. I knew about it when he got hired. It was.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm
as
just saying,
somebody who doesn't.
That's probably because the media, fans, and boosters don't hate him at Cincinnati. I feel like that might have something to do with it.
Well, I don't know what's going on with Kinkinif from Connecticut here in the chat, but goodness gracious.
My bad, I'm on the wrong pod. What are y'all talking about?
We'll do this real quick.
We're talking
Animal
about
stuff?
questions of the
What
universe.
K Kent's my burner.
Brent, was that you?
It's my
Talking about
burner.
Animal stuff?
Burner on Swift or whatever.
That was just Brent like occupying his time while he was in timeout.
Yeah, switch. Yeah, we're talking about the bear and the cat and then the dog and the mouse. You know, K Kent. That's my.
But I was gonna say the thing that I guess has surprised me. I didn't expect the offense to be scoring at the rate that they did in this last scrimmage. I didn't expect the offense to be quite. What we were used to seeing with Luke Fickell teams was the defense being so far ahead of the offense, and I don't feel like we've seen that quite the same at this point. And I don't know if that is a tribute to the defense being also a new install, or if that's the fact that the offense is better than maybe we anticipated. So,
Kate,
I think my favorite thing is Brian Threats just constantly being positive energy, always a smile on his face, jumping around, running around, talking crap to the offense. I've never seen anyone have fun at practice like Brian Threats has. And kind of being an older guy and someone that's going to have a really big role, I think him providing that energy is really good to see. And also, Aaron Turner has really translated into this team, and he's made the leap from FCS to FBS. He had a really, really good back shoulder catch from Emory Jones today on the sideline. I think it converted. I think it was a third down conversion. He's been really good. And I think whatever role he has, I think he's going to be reliable at the very, very least.
UConn is FCS now?
shout out to GMAC. Thank you for the donation, $4.99. He says, damn, was hoping Brent would be in the penalty box all night.
That's $5 to Aaron. That's
Not so
$5
fast,
is
my
going
friend.
to Aaron.
Not so fast, my friend.
I knew UConn was playing at an FCS level. I just didn't know they had actually moved there.
Did they actually go down?
No, Keegan just got that one wrong.
Well, I kind of do like the FCS nod, but easy Chelsea. The biggest surprise for me, or I guess just something that I really like, is going to practices and Camp Higher Ground and the last few seasons has been to go see a team projected to be top 25, top 15, top 10, projected to kind of be the talk of college football, considered to be a team to watch week in and week out. But yet this team, you listen to all the media talk heads, you listen to the national dudes, the capital JJs, journalisms, they say that this team isn't very good. They say this team is going to be 4 wins or less. They say this team is going to struggle in year one with the quarterback that isn't good, that quarterback that's proven that he's bad. I didn't see that at all on Saturday. I saw a team that is going to surprise people. If that's the way they're going to go into it, a team that's going to kind of come out and hit people in the mouth on defense, a team that on offense has the ability to stretch the field, has a group of running backs that all have a unique, different skill set that they're going to be able to just continue to roll at them, an offensive line that looks a lot better than projected, and then a quarterback that looks like a man on a mission. So the thing that I like the most is what I was able to see. Even though everyone else in the country thinks this team is bad, Saturday didn't show that.
How many wins do they have to get to be surprising? That's what I'll ask.
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now Royer or Chad. Oh, Chad, you already. Yeah, I was in timeout when you were talking. So Royer, go ahead.
Well, real quick before Ryan goes, thanks to Connor Cole, $4.99 donation. A lot about offensive and defensive, but how's Mason Fletcher looking as well as the new kicker?
Man,
I will say, I said it on Saturday night. I wish I did anything in my life as well as Mason Fletcher kicks balls. I said that when I was watching him do it on the field. I think I told Keegan that. And I stand by that comment.
he's unreal. He is unbelievable, man. I was talking with Dave about it during the scrimmage. Royer, how many games do you think James Smith had a massive part in winning in the early Fickle tenure?
A lot, man, because field position is like one of the number one keys to winning in football. I don't remember any like exact games exactly, but I know that. I mean, week in and week out, if that ball was anywhere near on the other side of the 40, like going in towards the 50, like that's automatic inside the 20, if not in the 10. And that is so hard because for the offense, you have to get like 2 extra first downs a drive just to like get into a manageable spot to like flip the field.
Right.
And
here's what's interesting about that, Ryan, is early in the Fickle tenure, it was very much like centered on Mike Warren's going to get us a couple first downs. We're going to grind it out. And then if we have to, we're just going to pin you inside the 20.
Right.
And that was why I think Jimmy was so dangerous early and got so many accolades early in his career, was because it was just that mentality of like, we don't feel like we have to go down and score every time. Our defense is so good that if we can get 25 yards, if we can get to our own 43-yard line, we're going to put you in a terrible spot, and we're going to force you to go, 84 yards on a top 10 defense over and over and over again. And I never thought that they would be able to go back out there. And don't tell Jimmy I said this, because Jimmy is a very close friend of the network. So I think Mason might be better.
Fletch is better.
I think Mason might be better. So I just never thought like, yeah. Look, I think Mason might be better. Like his ability, he's got the rugby kick, he's got the American style kick. Like he can put it high and long. He can go for distance. Like he's got everything in his bag, man. And they have a absolute weapon.
Mm-hmm. Do they decide which style of punt it's going to be before the play? And if so, how do they dictate which one it's going to be?
I haven't. Maybe that's something that the best Bearcat reporter on the beat now, Keegan Nickerson, can get Kerry Combs and ask Kerry Combs.
Okay. I'll report back.
Royer, what was it during your time?
What was what?
Was it kind of just up to whatever Fletch wanted to do? Or did Luke say go rugby style? What happened?
Nothing. I'm just thinking about something funny that happened back in the day. I'm sorry, boys.
This is good podcast.
Was it on the beach?
He had to take a timeout. He took a TO, baby.
I like that.
While Ryan's gathering himself, what about the second half of this question, as well as the new kicker?
I think there is definitely an adjustment coming from the desert and kicking in the desert, because I thought when Carter Brown got here, a lot of his balls kind of floated. But when you think about it, that makes sense when you're kicking in like warm, dry air, because they carry. So like as long as you get it up and put it like, 40 yards, it's going to carry an extra 5-7 yards or whatever. And you're going to be a lot. You're going to be really efficient from longer distances because your accuracy is going to be a lot more on point when you're not driving. When you drive through the ball, it's got a lot more variance on it going right or left. I think we're seeing a lot more oomph on his kicks as we have gotten through camp. I think Keegan would attest to that. Like, they felt like they were hanging in the air forever in the spring and then the first couple of days of camp. And now it feels like he's getting a little bit more pop into it. It's created a little bit more inconsistency early, but as he's continued to go through, you're not seeing nearly as many misses, and you're seeing the ball come off his foot with a little bit more velocity. So I'm becoming more and more. The thing is, like, when you do this, and especially when you're doing something every day, like we're doing at camp, you're always looking for, okay, here is what I see. Here is where I think such and such can get better. And then you talk to your sources around the program. You say, am I seeing this right? And they generally, if you're seeing it right, they'll confirm. And then you wait to see if it's changing. And I think we're seeing a more effective Carter Brown that's not, just lofting the ball up and knowing kind of it's going to go through. Like, you got to make kicks in the Midwest. You got to go out there and make kicks in the Midwest. And I think he's getting there. I think we've seen big improvement from the beginning of camp to, I guess today was practice 10 or 11. And there's 2 or 3 that we haven't been to that have been closed to the media. He's getting there.
Yeah, I don't think he missed a kick on Saturday when I was there. So
yeah,
can confirm.
He looked pretty good.
6 for 6, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just got a funny ass text from my buddies, and it was just this funny video. But I couldn't hold it in. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
There's a video of a guy getting stung by a stingray.
Yeah.
And he collapsed to the ground and he just like shit his pants out of pain. I don't know. I just thought it got to me.
There you go. Hey, it gets to us. It gets to us. Yeah.
What corners of the internet are your friends on that they find that?
Oh, we're on every corner, brother.
Oh, yeah.
It's a question for a different podcast.
Don't even get us started on the reels.
There you go. Well,
we're talking about Fletch. I think Fletch is... What the... Oh
Producer extraordinaire.
I just want to see it happen, Aaron.
Who's making a clap for a kid?
I don't know what's I told you I don't know what's happening with Ken from
There we go, Ken. Man. Getting claps, man.
But Royer, yeah, Fletch is a beast. Yeah.
I think I agree with you guys. He might be better than
Jimmy,
than the boy Jimbo.
And again,
I never thought I'd say that. I was like,
never. I thought Jimmy was going to go easily going to take 10 years to find somebody that's just going to step in and be as good as Jimmy. And 0 years. 0 years it took to find somebody maybe better than Jimmy. Brian Mason was
when
genius.
When Mason came in, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, just like
the rake.
Just so skinny and he was fresh from Australia. He had no idea.
Super tall, super late.
I was like, I don't know how he's gonna be able to punt a ball. He was so skinny. Then he just went off in the weight room, but it was funny because him going off in the weight room, there's not a huge jump in looks. It's not like he got ripped, but he just got a little bit more muscle on him, but he gained 15 pounds. But then every time he was kicking, no matter what, it was always bombs. I was like, damn, there's no drop off, which was good because punting is so overlooked how important it is.
Oh yeah, and one big thing that punters need to have.
Did he speak English?
Oh, he spoke the English, bro.
He did, but one big thing punters need to have, and kickers as
Wasn't
well.
that Brent? Wasn't that Brent?
What?
Wasn't that Brent that mistook, asked if one of the if they spoke English? Was that you or was it somebody else?
It wasn't me. I've got some Australian friends.
It was somebody on one of the shows in the network that just like completely spaced and was like, "Did he speak English when he got here?" Yeah, they do speak
That's
that
the
in
language
Australia.
It's the language of origin.
Brent, are you saying you needed friends from Australia to know that they spoke English there?
You know what? I'm not saying it, but I'm also not saying it. So, yeah.
In the chat, Matt asks, will they continue to look to get kickers from Australia? I think several conversations have been had to where we can confirm they are not necessarily looking to get strictly from Australia, but they are not looking at Australia.
The door is not shut.
That whole program that they have over there is like elite, and they're turning them out. And if you have already James Smith and Mason Fletcher vouching for Cincinnati that it's a good program, they're going to keep coming.
It helps. It's a feather in your cap.
What I was saying is kickers and punters, confidence is key, and Mason has confidence out of the wazoo. So, big time. Ryan, number 4.
What else you got for us? You're on mute, pal.
Yep, I'm here, man. What's the best new thing? Best new thing this staff brings? Your favorite or best?
I'm going to take my answer because I don't know if one of you guys are going to steal this one, and this is the only one I have that is my favorite new thing. But how strictly they follow this period through practice is my favorite new thing that they have. The scrimmage was like 2 hours done. There was no extra time. They didn't have to wait until the defense got a stop to end the game and proclaim the defense won the game. As we've seen in previous regimes before. We just saw, especially in practice, just the way that practice runs with the bullhorn running and timers set up in the corners. You pretty much have an idea as to what's going on, at least how much longer this period's going to go before you need to shift focus somewhere else. And I don't know. I just really enjoy how crisp and organized team practices have been.
Keegan, you got anything?
I think it's just how willing Satterfield is to talk to the media. It's not like he's trying to hold back a bunch of answers or give like bullcrap coach speak answers to not give us anything. He's really upfront with us. I think everybody's really upfront with us. They're telling us stuff that we want to know, and I think that's really refreshing because you see the coaches that they see the media as a negative, and I think Coach Satterfield knows that the media can help you, like despite what a lot of people say, like it can be a benefit.
I've got just kind of schemes on both sides of the football, offense and defense. Chad and Dave kind of talked about it last night. Like the offense looks like they've
outside zone, baby. That's my answer.
Oh yeah, they've got themselves a game plan, and they're going to do exactly what that game plan is. So, Chad, I'll let you take on the outside zone, but I'm just going to mention the defense real fast. It's just aggressive, and when you hear the defensive line mention it, the holdovers from last year, Dante and Jawan and Malik and Phillips, they mention how excited they are to have this more aggressive, get up the field, make plays, and then DP as well, just talking about how excited he is for just the aggression and playing more all over the field, this, that, and the other. Like that's true, genuine excitement. So for me, it's definitely the schematics on both sides of the football.
Chelsea, I got an exclusive camp preview with Scott Satterfield on the network. So,
Also, not how you spell my name.
Yeah, get it right.
Okay, Chad.
It's a mix of Keegan and Reagan there.
Yeah.
Chad,
although those two are kind of inseparable now, Keegan and Reagan. I mean, we might have to come up with a Keagan podcast.
No.
The Kragan hour.
The power couple. Work husband and wife. Not actual husband and wife, but work husband and wife. Keegan and Reagan.
No.
Kicking it with Kragan.
No.
the
I
Kragan.
kept an umbrella over her camera because she doesn't have protective gear, and it costs more than my life. So
How much? Yeah. Did you guys all have umbrellas today, or was it just
Keegan did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I was the only one that brought one.
And well, Neil had one.
was it tiny? What was it?
It was small, and it was like
It was
folded
completely broken. It was completely broken, and it had pearl necklaces, high heels, purses. It was an interesting choice by Neil for his umbrella at camp today.
Neil's great. But yeah, there we go. Royer, you got another one, or is that Dunzo? Okay. Sorry, should not have asked a question when he left. But I guess I'll throw a question out there. Keegan, great job on all the articles so far.
Thank you.
It's been a thrill reading those. My question to you is, two-part. What has been your favorite article up to this point? And second part, go tell us a little bit more about the Nick Van Exel piece and the Sauce Gardner piece, and kind of how excited you were to kind of get those written up.
I think my favorite article is still the Emory Jones one, just kind of based off of how much work I put into it. How willing people were to talk about him was really refreshing. It was kind of a good sign of what we should expect as a person from Emory. For the Sauce and Nick Van Exel ones, that was just a really unique situation because you have two different sides of the spectrum on two different people graduating. You have Sauce fulfilling a promise to his mother, promised when he went to college he was going to get a degree. And then you have Nick Van Exel, who, when he was at Cincinnati, he didn't really care about school at all. He was there to play damn good basketball, and he played damn good basketball. And then it kind of comes back to where he tells all of his players, if you can get your degree, you need to get it because it can bite you in the butt. Now, he kind of realized some things that he couldn't do without a degree, and now he might be wanting to do them. So he went back and got his degree. But it was a celebration for both of them, and it was awesome to cover. It's a really positive thing. It's a really happy thing. And then talking to Terry Nelson was awesome. Talking to Sauce Gardner's high school coach, just about the people they are. And yeah, both of those were really, really refreshing to write.
First off, it was awesome seeing them, on Hard Knocks. They're with the Justice here, for those who don't know, and they had cameras at the UC, the ceremony for the graduation, and they got a cool moment with Nick Van Exel and Sauce kind of dapping up, and Nick was like, "Saucy!" I was like, "Okay, Nicky Van Exel getting in there." But the coolest thing about Nick, since his time after post player and now in the coaching scheme, is when he discovered iced coffee. That was that truly would be one of the funnier things that
I remember that
on social media. Like, just every single day, he's like, "How come no one told me about iced coffee? This is unbelievable." it's like, yeah, I agree, Nick. It's absolutely fantastic. But no, those are all really cool pieces. And yeah, man,
Thank you.
Keep it up. That was supposed to be filibuster for Royer to come back and see if he had any more questions, but Royer has.
I'm curious as to if Sauce graduating meant anything to Ryan, actually.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. I thought that anytime you see a guy like that who had like his career has no business, like, not to say you don't have any business like going back to college, but when you have just like reached this celebrity like status so quickly, you'd think like the last thing on your mind is like, oh, I got to go back and get my degree. But it just kind of shows the kind of guy Sauce is, like, loyal. He's rooted in all the right things, and that's why like there's not there. I still don't think there's a ceiling for how good of a player he can be, because when you're rooted in values like that, honoring your mother and your grandmother, I think like as long as you don't lose sight to the things like that, then you're always going to be heading the right direction in all phases. So I was super proud of that. Having him have a degree from this university means a lot to me too. And Brian, I also don't have any more questions, but I heard you say that when I was out of the room grabbing something.
Oh,
So
wow, you're
I
good.
thought it was interesting that the mayor gave Sauce a day named after him,
August
and
4th,
then-
right?
and then proceeded to, in that declaration, call it the ACC and not the AAC.
What a jabroni.
Okay. But yeah.
See what you did there.
Yeah, Royer, yes, the Godfather. Back-to-back tackles for losses the first two plays of the scrimmage. That really stuck out to me. Great final question. You're the man. Let's see here, guys. Anything else that we want to have? Keegan, obviously, you have the notes up from today's practice. Chad and you as well with the interviews post-practice. Tight end day for Chad. I know he had one interview back in the day when all the tight ends dyed their hair blonde. You remember that, Royer? And Big Bird and DeGuara and all them kind of looking
Harry
nice.
dyed his beard blonde. Remember that, Harry Young?
Oh yeah, that was a good look. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest,
Leave it
but
to him,
yeah, really good stuff up on the site. Keegan, anything really from today that you want to kind of mention on the pod that kind of really you want to kind of remember about just cool play or cool performance or anything just from today's practice?
Chad talked about the receivers had a really tough day, a lot of drop passes, but Chris Scott was not in that group. He had a really, really good day, and they capped it off the last play of the day. I don't know if it was Lichtenberg or Drogosh, if Chad remembers who it was, but it was just a perfect lob into the corner, and he just stuck out his hand, grabbed it, 1 foot down. The entire offense mobbed Chris, pushed him all the way back almost to the woods behind the field. And there were some offensive linemen.
They were like, I'm not going that far.
They were
No,
like,
I'm not.
too far.
That's too far. That's too far. I'm not going that far.
Yeah. So
It was really funny.
he had a really, really good day. He made some good catches, and he was my dude of the day. He's been asking for some shout-outs on BCJ, so I gave him one today.
There we go. And you know what?
He's been solid.
Yeah. I was going to say the fact that we saw, the D. Wiggins injury and different things here and there, there's going to be times where that depth of the wide receiver room is going to be tested, and having a guy like Chris Scott available is massive.
Which is
If Chris Scott's the middle of your wide receiver room, your wide receiver room's pretty good.
Mhm.
That's been the biggest worry through all of this with everybody that left was the wide receiver room being new. If Chris Scott's in the middle of that wide receiver room, your wide receiver room's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
And they could have
He's a dog.
they could have easily been in a situation coming off the coaching change, having to restore that room to where if you lose one guy, you're done and you don't have any difference makers. But they built
And
it
we've
up.
had D. Wiggins out for 3 days. He's been out there. He's been around. He doesn't have a bad injury. He's just, it's leg stuff where there's no point, especially on a rainy day. I would have been interested to see if he was back today, if it was a normal day.
Yeah.
But in the rain, you're not going to run a guy back out there that, tweaks something.
Yeah.
I watched an interaction between a team photographer and him, in which he told him that he went viral on the internet the day prior with a torn ACL, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And the whole interaction was hysterical. He pulled up his phone and he's showing him. He's like, "You blew up Bearcat Twitter. You blew up the internet." Yeah. And he's like, "What are you talking about? I didn't do." No, none of this even happened. And he's just walking around, no brace, no pet, no.
Yeah, it was a minor, it was just he tweaked something that it happens every day in camp 4 times.
The whole thing was hilarious to watch develop in real time, and I just laughed. And he's just befuddled with, "What do you mean I tore my ACL? That didn't happen. None of that."
Yeah,
happened.
That started on Bearcat Journal. You guys got to be better. It's come on. You guys got to be better. You can't start shit like that. Here's the thing I need to explain to our members. We're not small time anymore. Everybody is on Bearcat Journal. So if you post something crazy like that on Bearcat Journal, it's out. Like everybody's talking about D. Wiggins tore his ACL. No, he didn't do. Like everybody, chill. Send me a DM and be like, "Hey, I heard this," and I can either be like, "I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up for a couple days," or like, "No, he's fine." Like everybody, relax. Like we can't get away with what we used to get away with 10 years ago, where we would talk amongst ourselves and it stayed amongst ourselves. Mm-hmm. We've become too much a part of everything that is UC sports now. That's not how it works anymore.
Yeah, I had coaches coming up to me today saying they saw what was on BCJ, and then they frantically called other coaches to see if it was true because they got scared.
Everybody's on BCJ now, like dead serious. Everybody from every level of the athletic department and the fan base, everybody is on Bearcat Journal now. Now, that's not to say we don't need to get bigger. We still need to get bigger. It's fine, but.
Yeah, and when you send Chad a DM asking about injury updates, you have to send a $10 Venmo as well, and then he'll tell you.
If I'm going to answer, you got to Venmo me $10.
And if you don't ask it the right way, you got to send more.
Right.
And more.
That's how you end up getting screen capped, and that's not good for anybody. None of that's going to go well.
No.
$10 gets you $10 gets you a personal phone call from Chad.
Exactly.
I'll do that. Somebody the other day was like, we need, like, do you want me to come sit on your couch and answer questions?
Oh, like
for the right price, I'll do that.
Wow.
I'm single now, so I got a lot of time.
Yeah, there's websites for that. But so the you know, Keegan, yeah, I'm going to tell you to leave for a second because we got to give you your flowers. Keegan, you're out for now. He'll be back.
He dropped himself out, and
yeah, he did that himself.
He doesn't even have his headphones in currently.
Well, you should have looked at. Did you look at the private chat? Anyway, so I think that it's a good time to kind of timestamp just the camp talk for now, unless anyone has anything else. And hope Keegan comes back because we'll have him on for the full pod. A little Keegan on the BBP.
Look, I like the flow. I like the vibe of this. We might be a 5-man podcast now. I like the in and out, like the kind of the bouncing around. I don't hate it. I kind of like the vibe that we've got going.
I think this is a new energy that we have not had in a couple weeks.
Let's get 2 claps for Royer real quick.
I'm not making it clap. I just feel like we were requested to make it clap.
2 claps for Royer.
Hey, make it clap with Ryan Royer.
Yeah. And then coming up afterwards is kicking it with Cragen. And then
Keegan didn't. That Kent guy said need to hear Keegan scream.
Yeah, he's now blocked. Both him and the
you can't do stuff with. I can't do anything from here with anything going on Twitch.
I went into the Twitch feed and blocked them both. They will not be back.
The Twitch Nation. Twitchy. We're twitchy out here.
Oh. That's the timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries. They provide a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby. Well, before we continue, walk away from extremely walk away from football. Let's quickly, Aaron, you got to bounce back in for this. This is your hashtag Bearcats in the NFL. Just go around the room.
Before we even get into that,
week 1.
Before we even get into that, Keegan, you want to hang out the rest of the night? You good with that, or
my computer was dying, and I had to go get
just
my
asking. Are you in for the long
haul? Do you have to go back to the ladies' house, or can you?
Well, we were saying we enjoyed this energy. We like the bouncing in and out and all of that, and we thought that this was a different energy. So you didn't have your headphones in. Brent gave you flowers, and then there were some.
I literally sprinted out. I'm not even kidding. I hit remove from stream as he said my name, and I felt really bad.
And you don't sound like you're short of breath. So well done working out. Good job.
I was doing shoulder press as I got like
Look at him.
I got
I
a
was
link
doing shoulder
sent,
press.
I got a link sent text from Aaron as I was doing shoulder press.
Oh.
And it was 8 p.m. on the dot. And I was like, when does it start again? He's like, a minute ago.
Royer knows about them shoulder presses.
Goodness.
All
right, so what you got, Brad?
Okay.
Look, you can't pump it up if you don't shoulder press.
Gotta pump it up. Don't you know? Pump it up.
The critical lift right there.
I tried to explain to Keegan the other day. They play Pump It Up. They do like a quick segment that's like third down or whatever. Yeah. And I was explaining to Keegan, like, yes, Bolden brought Pump It Up into the world, but Royer brought Pump It Up into the world. Right? Like, it's a two-part thing.
The creator, yeah.
It's a two-part thing. Like,
Bolden walked with Pump It Up so Royer could run with Pump It Up.
Right.
I like how Nico does it the best. Nico just goes like that. That's how he does Pump It Up.
That's a good Pump It Up.
Jersey Shore in him.
Hey, baby. Nico Palizzetti. All right. Quick Bearcats in the NFL, just around the room. Favorite thing from either the past week, either preseason, just real quick that you've seen from the Bearcats in the NFL. Aaron, you're the
past week?
Yeah, past week since our last pod. Preseason week 1, it's gone with the wind.
I guess the favorite thing that I've seen so far, and I think it was probably longer than a week ago, is still Jason Kelce hanging out with his kids. That's just a guy that is Hall of Fame bound. He's not taking those days off from what I've seen in camp that a lot of veterans do. And he just makes sure that after every practice, and I think they're probably just not taking pictures anymore because you don't want to see the same thing every single day, but you just need to mention it 1 time, 2 times, whatever. Right. But he just makes sure at the end of every practice, he goes and hangs out with his kids on the field, and just him laying on the ground with his kids, using him as a jungle gym. As a father, I get that. With Brinix, who's now 13 months going on 5, it feels like. I totally can relate to what he is doing as a dad.
And piggybacking off that, Prime Video is announcing a green light order for Kelce, a documentary that follows Eagles All-Pro center Jason Kelce through the 2022-2023 season. The doc, which premieres September 12th on Prime Video. Lock in.
You were ready for that read. My goodness.
Hey, baby. I was going to mention
We didn't even plan that.
I was going to mention it. Lock it in. Royer, favorite Bearcats in the NFL from the past week?
I think it's got to be the sauce getting the degree.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be mine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Especially, did you watch Hard Knocks?
No, I didn't watch it.
Oh, you got to check it out. It is.
Hey, it could have been Alec with that deep ball tutty versus the Bills, but I still can't tell if the guy knocked it out or if his elbow kind of jarred it out. But
right. Yeah.
That might have took the cake for me. But
did the refs call it a tutty?
No.
No.
Well, then it wasn't. Apparently,
it wasn't close.
According to the BCJ experts, if the refs call it or don't call it, that's gospel. The refs never get anything right or wrong.
True. Keegan, favorite Bearcats in the NFL?
You guys have probably talked about it, but I just think Sauce's handshake with Aaron Rodgers is so hilarious. And then burn it on someone. And then the shot of him.
Put it out on Royer's head right down there.
The shot of him just standing there with Aaron Rodgers just talking about football before the Hall of Fame game is crazy. Yeah, that's a borderline 2-3 star recruit that just came to Cincinnati and tore the place up from like.
Let's not get fucked. The Indiana boy. Let's not get carried away. He was an 84. That's not borderline 2-star.
He was a mid 3-star.
Yeah, he was a mid 3.
Okay,
that's not disrespect the man.
They aren't expected to be the number 1 rated cornerback in the NFL in their second season.
I was a little confused how Sauce said he wanted to play 40 years in the NFL. I was like,
I think he meant till he was 40, but
I know. I was like,
who knows?
That's a lot of years, but hey, buddy,
it.
If you do it,
Sauce is going to be 60 knocking down passes, bro.
Right, exactly.
And then honorable mention.
Shit out of here.
honorable mention, not a former Bearcat, but under Scott Satterfield, Malik Cunningham is getting a lot of play for the Patriots, and seeing how he develops is going to be significant to Scott Satterfield's future with quarterbacks.
Wide receiver and
I'll let you have that one. That was fair. I thought you were going to go with the fucking linebacker for the Giants.
No.
IU boy.
Why? That has nothing to do with it. There's at least some connection. Oh
Chad,
my gosh. I had to hear
There's
about
a lot
that.
of connection with that guy.
I had to hear about that every
You see
single
what their
day.
dream season would have fallen apart if that ass clown didn't get punted.
Yeah. Chad, what you got?
Ivan Pace, man. Like, how's it not Ivan Pace? Like,
Oh yeah.
led the
Bryant's
Vikings in
hit
tackles.
Kobe Bryant hit stick with like a word.
Yeah, Kobe adding safety to his resume now. He can play outside corner. He can play the slot. He can play safety. Like, he is creating a space for himself where he's going to be in the NFL for a long time. But Ivan Pace going from undrafted free agent to starter, potential starter up there is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
Going back to Kobe for a second, can we have this conversation? Is it a demotion to be moved from outside corner to inside corner to safety? Is that your last straw with the NFL? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they're trying to make sure he's on the field. Like, right now, the spot they have open, like where they have a question mark, is safety. So they moved him to safety. Last year it was at nickel, so they played him at nickel. Like, I think, especially as a defensive back, like, it is such a DB-centric league now. You have to have so many of those guys, and the more of them you have that can do a little bit of everything, that's a guy that can hang in the league for a long time. They're not – the thing, Aaron, is I think it's a really good question, Aaron, because there is, like, they're moving him around a lot. They're trying to find somewhere that he's best. I think they're moving him around a lot because they feel like they need to get him on the field. And so, okay, maybe we feel like we answered in free agency this question, whatever. Maybe we feel like we answered this in the draft, but we have to have Kobe on the field. So let's try. But and the thing is with Kobe, he's going to figure it out.
Well, was he recruited?
He's going to figure it out. He was. No, I think he was listed as a safety, but he was recruited
came in as a safety, and then they moved him over. But either way, he's got some.
Ryan, was he ever at safety?
All over.
Do you remember that? I don't remember him at safety.
Yeah, when he first came in, they had him looking at safety just for a little bit, like him and Derek. They moved back to corner.
Well, they made the right call. One of them was a safety, and one of them was a corner.
It's interesting.
The best corner in college football.
The one they picked as a safety has also turned out to be pretty damn good too.
Yeah.
Jeff, we know that. Jeff, you don't have to enlighten us on the waiver stuff. We are well aware.
And
it
Jeff,
is the only thing we're going to talk about when we get to the basketball portion of the mailbag.
Oh, was that actually already asked in there? Because I was going to bring it up
multiple times. Yeah, multiple times.
In reference to the Seahawks corners, they have Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, who are just two studs. And then Kobe Bryant is third on the depth chart at both cornerback positions. And then do you know who's fourth at the left cornerback position? Yes. So you have two Bearcats getting bids for playing time at the Seahawks, and he's third for both the cornerback positions. So I would say he's in a good spot, but I mean, there's definitely some substance to what Aaron was saying.
I'll give a couple quick hitters.
But that's my point though, Keegan. Like, okay, we're good at corner. We need this guy on the field. Let's move him to safety. You know what happens to guys they don't want on the field? They just leave them as the third corner, and then they can become the fourth corner, and then they're not in the NFL anymore. Yeah, that's the point. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, and it's also the reality of it's the NFL. Like, there's no more competitive league in the world.
That's also why I asked the question. So I think we were all on the same page.
Yeah.
Quick hitters. Pretty cool seeing the 1-2 running back monster of Mike Boone and Chris and Dokes.
Jared Dokes.
in Houston. It's not going to. I mean, it'd be awesome if it carried over to the season, but
especially with C.J. Stroud looking like a typical Ohio State quarterback in the NFL.
Easy.
I was so
and
high
then,
on
of
him,
course,
too. So sad.
he'll be fine.
Oof.
He'll be fine.
Oof.
And then Trey Tucker being used completely all over the field. He's gonna have himself a role with the Raiders. Just they're gonna use him. They're gonna use him. And then last but not least, a quick kind of knock on wood. Happy news. What looked to be a pretty bad injury for Jerome Ford turns out it's just a bit of a hammy. So he should be. They're trying to expect him back. The Browns are expecting him back by week 1. Who knows what that soft tissue might be. Slow down a bit, but good to hear it wasn't anything too serious.
Jeff, you're good. Like that wasn't a swing at you. It is the only thing other than the sketch. There's 2 things being talked on the basketball board right now. Second time transfer waivers and the schedule. That's all everybody's talking about. So I'm just saying, trust me. And if you don't have a membership to Bearcat Journal, bearcatjournal.com, like you can join the conversation there because there's a lot of it. So yeah, that's just going to be something that's coming up in the mailbag. That wasn't to shush you. That was just to let you know.
That's just how Chad talks.
We're going to get to it. Keegan has learned that's just the way. I'm not yelling. That's just the way I talk.
Yeah. If you say something remotely weird, you are an idiot.
Man, we lost Brent again.
Idiot.
All right. I think that wraps it up. Chad, if you want to jump back in here real quick and do a timestamp read.
I really don't, but I will. That's a timestamp brought to you by Quick Paper Supply, your local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. Quick Paper services over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick at 513-470-2029 and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases. Be honest, Keegan, is it tough dealing with me? Aaron always says it's tough dealing with me.
No.
I don't.
No. You compliment me, so it makes it easy. I'm not used to that.
I feel like if he had ever seen Jerry Maguire, that was his "you complete me," but he missed it.
Yeah, he missed it. It's
You
fine.
complete me. Yeah, I'm not there. I'm not there yet.
Keegan just wants to tell Chad you had me at hello.
He's working his way back to 90s movies.
Here's the thing that Keegan is learning. Like, he will say, like, I have an idea. And I'll be like, okay. And then randomly I'll just grab somebody and be like, hey, Keegan, here's the guy you need to talk to for your idea.
Literally, he could probably see in my eyes how scared I was when he looked over at Pete Thomas. And then in a way, I was like, are you just about to say, hey, Pete? And then he just goes, hey, Pete. And then I'm like, okay. I have to get up and talk to Pete Thomas.
And then there was a player. He's looking for a little bit more depth on a player story that he's working on. And I was like, hey, come here. Keegan needs your dad's number. And what happened? You got the number. Like,
it worked out.
I used to, this will make sense to you. Like early in my career, somebody that that owns a really successful business in the sports world, I did like some work for them, and they called me the connector, because that was the thing. Somebody would have an idea and I would be like, oh no, I got you. Let me make a phone call. And all of a sudden that like, here's you and here's you. And now you two are together and like the thing is happening. That's that's my ultimate, that's my best role. Like, that's what I'm best at, is being like, oh, here's your idea. And I know the person that you need to make your idea happen. So I'm just going to put you two in touch and you guys go with it.
Yeah, it's working. So I'm happy for it.
I'm happy for it. All right, what do you got, Brent? Let's go.
So the next was basketball, and I actually was going to talk about
we're just basketball's kind of we're gonna
No, I was literally I believe it or not, I write a skeleton for every single BVP, and we follow it for the most part.
I know.
And the two topics were what you've already mentioned is in the mailbag. So I'm
So let's
going to ask,
save
are
those for the mailbag.
Okay, well then it's time for the mailbag.
Mailbag.
I'm down. Like, I want the people to feel like they're involved. I don't want to cover these topics and then when we get to the mailbag, be like, okay, rewind. Like we already
Don't want to poo-poo on their questions. So, well,
Yeah.
we do have a decent sized mail.
Real quick, we'll say the one recruiting saga is over. Let's give a warm reception when he comes to Fifth Third in a couple of years. Aside from that, no other really basketball recruiting up to this point. And then aside from that, Odio Guama is a pretty good voiceover narrator.
that was good.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. Pretty solid. Aside from that, I had a nice pose of questions. I had the schedule pulled up that people are mentioning, and we were going to dive into those. But stay tuned because we love getting the members involved. We'll be mentioning those in the mailbag. So, Aaron, take it away.
I will be. Just want to remind anybody listening that if you are interested in sponsoring anything, the mailbag is back open for sponsorship. So that is a thing. But we had a couple extra
the Royer segment, the new Royer question segment is also open. Make it clap with Ryan Royer is now open for sponsors.
I liked riffing with Royer.
Comment.
I liked riffing with Royer.
I like Royer wants to know. Like I think that's
Royer wants
gets
to
right to the Royer wants to know.
I thought that's why
we might need to work fan. We might need to work fan into this like somehow the word fan might need to be worked into this Royer segment.
Around the fan with Ryan Royer.
In the fan with Ryan Royer.
Through the fan with Ryan Royer.
Through the hospital with Ryan Royer. It's really stupid that we workshop this stuff live, but this is what we do.
Yeah. It's because we don't respect fans who listen to this. Ha ha ha. All right. First question in the football portion of the mailbag. And this comes from Mad Dog 93. Within reason, what renovations / expansions would you like to see made to Nippert Stadium? Personally, I am at a whopping 0. I'll pass it around the horn. Ryan, what you got?
I can't really think.
As a player,
I don't know. I don't really think we need to expand Nippert. I don't know how much more seats we could add and get it to still sell out. I mean, maybe like 5,000-8,000 more with like the new bigger fan bases traveling in. But other than that, like even because the 2 year, it wasn't until like the last 2 years we were winning for 2 years. And then the last 2 is when it really kind of was like selling out like almost every home game. But even then, it was still not completely sold out. Like when butts got in the seats. But Chad's got something to say. I don't know. I don't know where maybe you'd have to go like connect the what is that freaking called?
I've been waiting to ask you this question for a long fucking time, Ryan.
Yeah. All right. Here. What is it?
2018.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 19. I think it was 18. I don't know. COVID messed my brain up. Conference championship. I think it was 19. Conference championship or like a Eastern Division still in play. No,
it was 2020.
No. This goes way back before that. I'm talking.
Oh, you're talking about.
COVID messed my brain up on whether it's 18 or 19. I think it was 18. When you lost to UCF, and so you're not like there was still an outside chance you could win a conference championship, but it was like you needed things to happen, and then you get to the end of the year, and you play.
You're talking about the Cold Temple game at home.
The Temple game, senior day,
raining,
and there's like 20,000 people there.
Where we had, was it Kobe took the blocked extra point for the safety?
That game.
Derek had the ceiling interception.
Did it bother you guys that there was only 20,000 people in the stadium? Be honest.
I was surprised. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I thought it was. I thought like if there was gonna be like a home game where it's sold out, but it was also like so cold that night.
It doesn't matter, man.
I know. Yeah, it did bother us. We thought we deserved the fans to come out, but
I was told by a couple fans who think they know better than what I hear from inside the program that nobody cared. It wasn't a big deal. I know a lot of people that were bothered by that.
I mean, it meant a lot to us to be in that position. It would have been nice to have been like, I guess rewarded with butts and seats, but because that game meant a lot to us, and that year, I mean, turning the program around like immediately. There were times like people. I don't think people realize like it took literally until like the last year for Nipper to like really be a true sellout.
COVID fucked that up. Like, to be fair,
Yeah.
COVID fucked that up. But
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
But and then in 19 when we came off the successful year and then we're winning again, even then like it would like the corners of the stadium wouldn't be full, and it's only 40,000 people. And if you look at the Bengals stadium, it's 60,000, and like they still like don't get. It has to be like a playoff game to get like every single seat filled.
MW2 Top G, you don't have to defend yourself here. This is very specific because I brought this up and I got crushed by a segment of the fan base on Twitter that like it didn't matter. The players don't care about that type of thing. The coaches don't care about that type of thing. And my point was, I don't care. Spend your money however you want to spend your money. Like, do whatever you got to do. But if you want to keep coaches, if you want players to believe that this place is special, there can't be games in November for double-digit win teams where the stadium is 40% empty. Like that is something that coaches notice, players notice, and recruits notice.
Yeah.
And if this fan base wants to be the fan base that people believe it is and believe it can be, because we've all seen what Nippert looks like exploded, it's got to be better. And I got a lot of pushback on that, and I spent a lot of time arguing and blocking a lot of fucking idiots on Twitter that told me I had no clue what I was talking about. It didn't matter the coaches. It didn't matter the players. And, fans are free to do whatever they want to do.
It was 2019. The team had just won at USF on a Sam Crosa game-winning field goal. Came home to play Temple on senior night.
Yeah.
It was cold out. Warren's Mets got a big paw on the extra point, blocked it. 15-13 victory. I think Kobe had the game-sealing interception. Maybe it was Derek Forrest had the game-sealing interception too. But yeah, Chad, you mentioned that numerous times about how people know
it matters
to
the people that matter.
And then that next game was on the road at Memphis. So I don't know if everyone was like, well, we still have to.
That was the Ben Bryant game.
Yeah, we still have to go to Memphis. So why does it matter?
Yeah.
But they had to win that game in order to play in the AAC championship game.
I will say though, like there's two sides of the coin, because when we stunk, there'd be like 40 to 50% of the people in the stadium in 2017. But everyone that was there, loud as shit. Like,
sure.
It was yeah. So like,
this is not a shot at the people that were there.
No. And then the people that like, it matters too, because when you do it, like for that like 2021 season, I'm sorry,
yeah, 21.
where like just happened. Well, first Notre Dame, damn near it was like
a Bearcat home game.
Yeah, literally, it wasn't as many. There's probably like 20,000 Bearcat fans there, but like sounded like there was 80.
There's probably 60-40 or whatever.
Yeah, and then you get to the end of the year, and at the championship game, and like I always like try to explain to like my friends or just people that know football and have been to a lot of stadiums, like that place was absolutely insane, and like that meant so much to us, meant so much to me, like something I'm never going to forget. And I know everyone else on the team feels the same way. Just how, like, you felt like the fans were like a part of the team because they were so loud, so into it. Like not a single seat was empty, and you just felt like just the everyone felt the magic, and you just really felt like everyone was on the same team, and then rushing the field like that's all still on the table. And I don't like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if we need to expand the stadium because that atmosphere, like you don't need to add 10,000 seats to Nippert to
They're
like
not going to add. They will never add a massive
Yeah.
number of general admission seating because there's no money in it. It's just throwing money down the drain. If they expand again, the majority will be premium seating, and then they will add whatever general admission to regular seating that they can around that. But if anything expands, it's going to basically look like a mirror to the premium stuff on the press box side, on the Shank Pavilion side, with whatever they can, work in for a reasonable price in terms of general admission seating.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
look, let's be real. Stadiums are getting smaller, not bigger.
Yeah, they are.
Are you talking about
think about
Northwestern, though?
What?
Are you referencing Northwestern?
No. Why would I
Okay.
talk about Northwestern?
That's why I was asking.
Washington State, Oregon.
Think about
still, no, you
Cincinnati as
can't
a city.
compare.
In the fall, you have Bearcats, Bengals, Reds.
Yeah. FC Cincinnati.
That's what
that goes into
100
October, November. FC Cincinnati.
That's 160,000 seats you need to fill, and that could like during a week, on a weekly basis almost.
Yeah.
So, and that's that's hard to do. So
the way you make money is adding premium seating. It's not adding general admission seating.
Yeah.
You don't pay $100 million to add seats that cost $14 a game.
Yeah, Nippert sounds like there's like 90,000 people in there, so you don't need to expand.
You'll attest to this. When there was 5,000 people in Nippert during COVID, it still got pretty loud.
Dude, that COVID game was crazy how loud it was. I couldn't
believe it.
Game? Well, there wasn't 5,000 people in there. We know that for damn sure.
No,
it was
a little more. It was a little more than that.
Eight to 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was sneaking in the stadium, maybe a couple people, but
Chad, what's
a big rant about this one question?
What's a realistic
we went Chad mode?
What's a realistic number that could be added with that general mix of general admission and premium seating within the next 10 years?
I think if you get to 47.5,
that's
an ideal number for me.
That's more than Baylor.
A little over 45. I think 45,000 is seen as like small, I guess.
That's more than Baylor, TCU, Houston, and UCF. If you get
if you get to 47, if you can find a way to get to 47.5, you're in the sweet spot.
As long as those TV checks continue to cash, the rest.
Anything is possible.
John Cunningham at the groundbreaking of the indoor facility said, "This is a Big 12 facility," and I asked him, "I was like, you want that to be a Big 12 facility? Is there any interest in making Nippert more of a Big 12 facility just from a size standpoint?" So if he wants Big 12 facilities, you're going to have to add some sort of seating to get to the middle of the pack in the Big 12.
Are they the smallest or second?
I don't care about that because you know what you can do? You can raise prices to where you make money as a middle of the road Big 12 facility, even though you don't have the seats of a Big 12. Like, even though you're not in the middle in terms of like number of seats.
If they get to 47.5 after Texas and Oklahoma leave, that's definitely middle of the pack. So,
is that like what is it? What do you think the benefit of it is? Like, is because it's like the noise it's already going to be like one of the louder stadiums in the conference.
Yeah.
Do you think like when he refers to this being a Big 12 facility, is it because he wants more people in there, or does he just want more money to be made?
Well, he was talking about the indoor practice facility is a Big 12 facility. Keegan's point was you need more seats to make Nippert a Big 12 level. I don't agree with that. I do think down the road, 5, 7, whatever years from now, once you've established yourself in the Big 12, that there is space for a renovation to add to like Shank Pavilion and that portion of the stadium. I don't think it's a necessity in terms of like atmosphere. Like Big 12 fans will tell you over the next 5 years, I went to Nippert Stadium and that was as good of an atmosphere as I've ever been involved in college football. Because guess what? Big East fans did that when they first started coming to Nippert Stadium and said, oh shit, this place is legit as a college football stadium. And that was before the press box was redone and all the premium seats were added on that side. So I don't look at that the way that you do, Keegan, because I've seen it from the inside on how teams that kind of thumb their nose at Nippert before they come into Nippert, and then they play at Nippert and go, oh, that's as good an environment as anywhere we've played.
I also think it's tough because you can't like water down the aesthetic that it has now.
Right.
Like I feel like the most sensible addition would be to round out the student section, but then you block the view. I don't know the name of that building. What's the name of that building?
Dirtle. You can't block the view of Dirtle. It's non-negotiable.
Yeah. So to add seats while not doing that is tough. So it's already a tough situation.
I think Ryan brought up the point earlier about the fact that the Reds, the Bengals, FC Cincinnati, and all that. There's no other team in all of the Big 12 that has to rival anything like that.
Might be the whole country.
Quite possibly.
In the same city, it might be the whole country. But it's also we're in. You go.
No, I mean LA. I mean like UCLA. USC,
Yeah,
like
nobody cares.
They don't actually care about sports out there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have Chicago, and there's certainly teams that have that. New York, some of your Florida teams, like you have that. I think that's why Miami struggles.
Yeah, but you don't have
University of Miami, in fact, struggles with people coming to their games.
The point is, you don't have it in a market this small. Where in September, October, November, into college basketball, where there's 10,000 Xavier fans, and every one of them are butts in seats at Xavier games, and then UC basketball, where you have 11, 12,000 people every night there. So you're in this window for UC football that's really difficult, especially if the Reds maintain success. The Reds are good. That means they're playing into October. The Bengals are good. They dominate the market from Labor Day to Valentine's Day, essentially.
Pretty much.
FC Cincinnati has their niche now. Like they're winning. They've established their niche. Yeah. And then you have Xavier and UC basketball that enter at the back end of it. Like if you look at the population to entertainment dollar, there's more here if everybody's good. And who knows? Like we can't guarantee that what's happening right now continues, but this is a tricky window for UC football where the Bengals are expected to be great for a long time. The Reds are looking like they're entering an open window to at least be in contention for playoff berths.
Not if Luke Weaver keeps pitching.
You just ate your microphone. That was the worst audio we've had the entire show.
Luke Weaver keeps pitching.
Don't get me started. 3 Tuesdays from now, I might go off.
Keegan's fired.
What was that? What was that about 3 Tuesdays from now? And then, you just have so much competition for entertainment value that I don't know that going anywhere above 45, 47.5, like I left that as an arbitrary number. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for this football program to really maximize spending what it would cost to add that type of seating and get that return on investment.
There's also a level of there's two reasons we're really talking about this. The main one is they're in the Big 12 now, and there's expected to be more of a demand. The other one is from 2019 to 2021, it turned into a completely different program with completely different prospects. And from that span, correct me if I'm wrong, they were the only semi-competitive team in the city that was like promising championships, that had potential to be at the top of what they were doing. So now you're shifting those expectations into what you just said about the Reds, Bengals, FC Cincinnati, UC basketball on the up and up. That's going to overlap.
Go look at 08, 09, like that window. The Bengals were dreadful. Like they were in a downturn. The Reds were not good. Like that was right before
they were coming
the Votto, Bruce, like that, Todd Frade, like that resurgence. And then 2020, 2021. Like Burrow hadn't been entrenched. Like he had the knee injury. Like they hadn't gone to the Super Bowl. Like at that, you know what I mean? They did after the fact.
2021 was that year, yeah.
Well, it was after the fact though. Like that was they were not great that year. They got hot in the playoffs and made it to the Super Bowl. But that was not a season that was like the Bengals are kicking ass. Yeah, everybody's on board.
You know what I'm saying? Out, yeah.
Right. Now, the Bengals are kicking ass. Everybody's on board. The Reds are hot. FC Cincinnati's the best team in the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier's got Sean Miller. The Bearcats, like, say what you will, but like that is, for that fan base, they believe in that shit.
Yeah.
And UC's got an entrance, a ticket into the best basketball conference in the country.
All right. Great question.
It's a lot of money.
Great question, Mad Dog. That was, I think, wins the award for the longest answer of the mailbag ever. So well done.
Great topic. It's a great topic as we're entering into this window.
Clearly, we were all biting at the chomp to give our input on that.
Chomping at the bit. What is biting at the chomp?
It's fine.
I kind of liked it.
It's late.
I liked it.
I just need to know what
Brent,
chomp is. Like, why
I don't even know if we got Brent's take, but regardless, moving on. Are we still worried about putting pressure on the QB? Part 2. This is in response. Killer V asked this question earlier in the season.
Yeah,
and he is asking now.
Yes. Like I still think we are at a position where, like, let's see in a game how this defense gets home. Is it going to be the nature of this question was on the defensive front, the defensive line getting to the quarterback. Where I think we are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable is it's going to be a lot of guys getting to the quarterback, because you're going to see Dorian Jones trying to get to the quarterback. You're going to see Deshaun Pace coming at the quarterback regularly. You're going to see Brian Threats, who over this past week has been a guy that they don't blitz him a lot. When they do blitz him, he tends to be in the quarterback's face. So I am still worried about a power defensive line and how they get upfield consistently on their own, but it's a blitzing system. So I'm a little I'll believe it when I see it in terms of in-game action. Where are you at, Keegan? You've been there every day.
I guess I'm not worried about it at all, but I guess there could be a deeper thing, just seeing the amount of size.
Let me just I'll give you my thought process on it. There's not a Maije on this roster. There's not and you could argue Greshik, and I would take that argument because he's been really good in camp. Who is the guy that you look at that, like, this is our pass rushing specialist? And I just had we had a conversation here a couple weeks back about I need to see somebody become that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where this question comes from.
So you don't see Dante or Juwan as pass rushing specialists?
No, I think they're power inside defensive linemen that can stop the run and occasionally collapse the pocket to make the quarterback uncomfortable.
Then I guess my answer would be Daniel Greshik. I think just from that edge standpoint, I think he's shown
Yeah.
enough during camp that he can get to it, and I think he's going to feed off of the havoc that they create, maybe sometimes drawing double teams and then get through.
So when this question happened, we had not seen anything at camp yet.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I just expressed some concern that like I want to see it at camp. I think we've seen Greshik do that. I think we've seen Eric Phillips do that more than maybe we've written about.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So not worried, but still show me in a game. Show me in a game.
Anything to add from what you've seen yet, Brent?
Man, that scheme can solve a lot of issues, man. I love the aggression. That's it.
All right. How much has the needle moved in the expected win-loss in 2023 after watching the team at camp so far? I believe it started at 4.5. I got up to 5.5. There was another question here in the mailbag that asks about 4.5 again. I don't know if it got back down to 4.5.
No,
Brent,
they're saying it's still at 4.5.
If it was at 4.5, I would comfortably bet the over. At 5.5, it's still that's a gamble. Like it's five.
Name of the game.
5 to 7 range. 5 to 7 wins range is where I'm at right now. Because we like the offense still is going to take some time to show consistency. So I'm I would bet 4.5 easily. 5.5, like I probably would lower my dollar amount on 5.5.
Yeah, 4.5. I'm taking that alone, and my girlfriend's gonna yell at me again. 5.5. I'm still taking the over. I mean, I just see too many games that are winnable for it to not be confident for over.
Especially with the Iowa State stuff that's been coming out.
Yeah, that's they've lost a lot of their roster at this point.
Right.
I'm still of the belief that their floor is 6 wins and their ceiling is 8 wins. That's where I've been for probably 2 months now. And having been at camp, I'm even more solid in that belief.
Keegan.
I think they have Caesars has it at 5 even, and then DraftKings is at 5.5.
I bet 5. I bet over on 5 even.
Okay. I think I would take the over too. I just think the first 2 weeks you're going to know. So I think it's
if they're not 2-0 after the first 2 weeks, like then we got a fucking problem.
Over on 5 even is the same as 5.5.
What's the one thing it comes down
No, because 5 can be a push.
No, if you're betting the over, it's got to be over 5.
Yeah.
What's the what, Keegan?
What's the one thing it comes down to? If they're going
Emory
to
Jones.
Offense.
Yeah, Emory Jones.
Emory Jones specifically, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
If he can if he can be consistent, not turn the ball over too much, rush for 40 yards a game, I think that goes over.
Hit the check downs, rush for 40 yards a game. Yeah.
Ryan,
Make
what you
one
got?
or two plays over the top.
Yeah.
I think it'd be at I'd say 5.5 is. I think
You're still taking the over a 5.5.
Yeah, I would. I think this team can win 7 games, without like breaking the bank, But
So, did you guys hear the noise in year 2 in 2018 that like the ceiling was a bowl game? Get the 6-6.
I don't remember that. We just knew we were gonna be good. It was like this weird, like we had no reason to think we were because we're so
Because you were
bad.
dog shit the year
Oh my
before.
God,
You should have won
so
one game the year before.
I know, but like it was just we just had such a good off season in the winter, then had a great spring and fall camp. We just felt like we were on a mission. It was like we are not coming back from Pasadena without a win. And once that happened, it was like, yeah, we're gonna win a lot of football games this year. And we
And
weren't
you
even
did.
like that great of a team, like in terms of like our play. Like
No,
we had
you were
good
sloppy
players.
as fuck.
Yeah, we had good players like in good spots, but like they were like very raw. Like guys
Yeah.
still had guys end up getting so
There were
much
just
better
mistakes
too.
of a young team. A lot of mistakes of a young
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Well, and this leads us right into the easy question of how much money would you put on the over for the original Vegas over under of 4.5 wins? So we'll start with Ryan on this end real quick, just to go reverse order.
Yeah,
from
I
where we
smacked
were.
the 50 on it when we realized it live on the show. I wish I would go back. I wish I'd go put a freaking grand on it, thinking back on it. I couldn't believe that opportunity. Who called it out? Was it Brent?
Brent,
Yeah.
The
The
gambler
limit
out of
does
who
not
probably
exist.
did put a grand on it.
The limit does not exist. To
Yeah.
quote one of
Keegan
the
said
start
something to
movies.
me today about betting a significant amount of money on something, and I was like, "What is a significant amount of money to you?" He's like $50.
No.
Kids,
I feel that.
kids.
Because I
I would
have
like to
kids.
Yeah. Next question.
Anybody?
I'd put 500 on 4.5. Like take the
Now that
over
you've-
on 4.5.
now
I got
that you've
500 on
seen-
that. Yeah. And then if it wins, I'll give you guys a little taste, a little wet the beak.
A little boost. How good will the first team defense be compared to the conference?
I don't know.
Where do you think the second team falls? In previous years, the second team was easy top 5 in the AAC, but now we are in the Big 12.
Yeah, the second team would be last in the Big 12. Like, come on,
Personally,
we're not talking about the AAC anymore.
Personally, I think it's going to be better than at least Iowa State due to the mess they have going on there currently.
The second team would be last in the Big 12. This is not. We're not playing kid games anymore. Like when you go to the amusement park and you play the kid games as compared to like the rigged adult games, like where you got to shoot a jump shot from like 27 feet into a rim that's like 1 inch bigger around than the size of the basketball. Like that's the two different things.
Well, I think you're to the point where you're going to see a much harsher just roster cuts where we haven't seen roster cuts the same, where if you're not getting into the 2 deep by your third year, you're politely asked to find somewhere else to play.
I mean but that was the case here already. Like there was already a standard here that's different than the teams that were in the American Athletic Conference.
Correct, because they were looking at bigger picture and they had come from bigger programs. And I think
to your point, everybody else is already at that level. I get what you're saying. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, like, look, I think the first team defense will be top half of the conference, top quarter of the conference. The second team defense would be the worst defense in the conference. Like those days of like our second team defense is better than everybody else, except for maybe 1 or 2 teams, are gone. Erase that from your memory, Merc. Don't think about that. Don't let that enter your stream of consciousness ever again. It's over.
Yeah, I don't think that was a priority for this staff to restore the second team defense when they came in. I think.
No. It's not about. It's just about you were in the American and you had so many good players that your second team defense was better than all but 2 or 3 defenses in the conference. That you're in a power conference now. That's not how it works. Like even Alabama's second team defense or Georgia's second team defense is one of the worst defenses in the SEC. Like that's maybe not Georgia right now, but maybe not Alabama at the peak of Alabama. But you get what I'm saying? Like you don't just get to be like that far. Cincinnati, Roy will tell you, for 3 years, Cincinnati was that far ahead of the pack that the second team defense could have took the field and been one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in the American. That's not going to happen in the Big 12. It's not.
No.
Am I wrong though, Ryan?
No, you're right. You're right. I agree with you.
I guess I was looking at it as like depth at 4 to 5 positions coming in and kind of contributing. I guess that's what I was looking at it as. They weren't kind of set on restoring that as other.
My
places.
point is everybody has that in the Big 12. Like that's how it works now. You're in a league where everybody has that depth.
Yeah, I got you.
Anything to add there, Brent?
No, they're doing a great job.
What has a bigger effect to the success of the season, Emory Jones' play or the offensive tackles?
Emory Jones.
Very good question. Offensive tackle.
Great question.
Ryan?
Man. I think offensive tackles because one, the run game, two, Emory is going to be Emory. He can make things happen. And if you just make his life living hell, kind of like what happened with Ben, granted, Emory and Ben are two different players, but if you're just getting ran at, no matter how athletic you are, you're not going to be as good as you can in the pocket, and you're not going to be able to make as many plays. So
the argument Dave made, Ryan, was if it's a tackle, it's generally coming to the outside, and that leaves you an escape route. So at least if you're a mobile quarterback, and let's not kid ourselves, we love Ben Bryant. Ben was not outrunning many people. So, like, his escape routes are different than Emory Jones. If Emory Jones can escape out the front, like if the guards and centers are good, he's going to have room to escape out the front. So I get like where the question is coming from.
Yeah.
I still think like Emory Jones has to be sharp in the intermediate and the screen game and the flare game. Like that's the stuff that's going to sustain drives. He throws, and Keegan will attest, he throws a very, very good deep ball that he's got 45, 50, 55 yards of carry on. So he's got the wide receivers to catch the deep ball. But he's got to be more effective and efficient in the short and intermediate stuff to keep the chains moving with that running game so that then you can go over the top and make, the touchdown plays.
Yeah, that intermediate game is going to take a big hit, though, if you're going to have to step up and maybe take a couple steps to your left and right. And granted, no matter how athletic you are, you're not as good you're not as good running, scrambling around as you are getting into get your drop, step back, pick your guy, go through your progression, and throw your ball without having guys breathing down your neck.
The clock moves much faster if your tackles suck.
Yeah.
I'm going to double down.
We need a run game, man. We need a run game. We need to establish a run game, especially with the outside zone we're going to be running. Like if our tackles are bad, that shit is not going to work at all. You don't have tackles that can seal the edge and get up to the linebackers. So
you stole my point. I was going to say with Emory, Emory's one phase of the offense. You also have the run game, and if you don't have tackles, then that is not going to work well with an outside run game. So yeah, I'm 100% with you in that regard. So I will also say offensive tackles.
Just real quick though, but if the offensive tackles are decent and Emory is phenomenal, I think the team would do better than if the offensive tackles are phenomenal and Emory is just decent, if that makes sense.
That's a great point, Brent Young.
Yes, I agree.
So that's why Emory's my answer there.
What would your win total be for this team if they were in the AAC this year? Also, can you elaborate on the differences you see with this run scheme compared to last year? What even was the scheme last year? Is this scheme married to the zone, or will we still see occasional powers and counters?
I don't care what this team's win total would be in the American this year. Stop asking questions about the American. I don't give a fuck about that league. I don't care.
To Rice would be tough, I tell you what.
I'd say 8 wins. 8 or 9.
10. Easy.
I'll say 10.
10. Easy.
10.
The AAC is poo-poo. It's poo-poo.
On a platter.
Next question. 10.
Well,
next question.
All right. This one came in late. What is the ceiling for Emory Jones with Coach Scott Satterfield calling the plays? Could Emory potentially have a Malik type season, or are the two quarterbacks too different in talent? What is realistic? Keegan, you've seen the most of Emory out of all of us.
Watching Malik Cunningham, I don't think they're all that different. I'm sorry, Aaron. My bad. They're both guys
I didn't expect you to pop back in to answer a question.
Sorry. Though, like, Kelsey's taking a shower, the puppy is downstairs, the two dogs are fighting. There's a lot going on.
I'm working with the hand I got.
I know. I don't see a huge difference between Emory Jones and Malik Cunningham. Malik might be a little more shifty, where Emory's a little bit more hit the gap and just run, and not like a lot of like moves in open space, if you know what I mean.
Frill.
Yeah. But I don't think they're that different.
Yeah, and I think they trained with the same quarterback trainer in the offseason. That's kind of how Emory Jones ended up at Cincinnati.
That's a good nugget. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Oh, it was in his article.
Yeah, he came to Cincinnati off the recommendation of Malik Cunningham, because Malik Cunningham said, I would put my life in Scott Satterfield's hands. Then Emory Jones went on the visit, and it all worked out. I think his ceiling, and this could be like way blown out of proportion, based on the talent that he had in high school, based on how highly recruited he was. He's finally in a situation where he's comfortable and his head coach isn't on the hot seat. He could be on that list of like 10 Heisman finalists. If he can have that seasons where he's a dual threat guy, he has a really good deep ball. If they could beat Oklahoma, he has a really good game at Oklahoma. They win 9 to 10 games. I think that's his ceiling. But I also see that as he's so talented and that he has the best season he could possibly have. I think he's on that list of people that like got votes for the Heisman.
Well, if he's doing that, I think there's other people around him also winning awards. So
yes, Miles Montgomery could easily do that too. I think that's how elite he is.
If he's doing that, the tackles just have to be decent, and the team would be really, really good. but also, hey man, what's his ceiling? The ceiling is the roof, baby. The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, but it's just based off his talent. Like saying his ceiling is this team wins 7 games is unfair. I don't think that's his ceiling. His ceiling is a lot higher than what people expect him to do.
Watch that highlight on the Bearcats Twitter. Watch that highlight. Look how pretty that ball is.
Yeah, I mean he's confident, and you saw in the camp tapes today they treat him as like a second coach or like a young coach on the team. So I like the fact that he's comfortable with Pete Thomas and Scott Satterfield. They're going to let him run the offense, and they're going to let him fly. I think that could really pay dividends.
Ryan, you coming back, or am I moving on?
Moving on.
Base, you got some
water.
That's all right. You got something for me on this?
I don't know. I haven't really seen much of Emory, to be honest. I know that he's won starting positions at 2 programs before this. He's got a lot of talent. I think, this year when he's like established as the guy and like he's kind of roped in the whole offseason as the guy, and coaches believe in him, and they're probably drafting up an offense and trying to develop the scheme around him and his talents. And I think his abilities match really well with Satterfield's tendencies. I think he'd be better than Malik Cunningham, to be honest with you. I think he can throw the ball better. I think he has more experience. And I don't know about getting Heisman votes, but I think someone who really elevates their draft stock and someone that kind of just gets on the national scale. The Heisman would be awesome.
Dark horse.
I don't know about the dark horse.
No, I'm saying dark horse Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, though.
Who else was it? I feel like they're gonna be leaning on
Jaden
Quinn Ewers,
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Aaron Daniels, maybe. But I'm not saying that I think that's going to happen. I'm just saying if he plays up to the talent which he was recruited at, I think that could happen. And just like you said, the draft stock, I think his ceiling could be he's a 3rd or 4th round pick next year. Late 3rd, early mid 4th.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, they love Gabriel, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with that. With the 3rd, 4th.
All right. Based on the practices you've seen, if you had to pick today, who would you say you believe will be the biggest difference maker on this team?
Emory Jones.
One name.
Emory Jones.
Yeah.
Right.
Emory Jones or Deshaun Pace. One of the two.
Ooh, Deshaun.
Daniel Greshik also is honorable mention.
Don't forget about the Godfather, man.
Hey, Dante Corleone.
I'm just
player
booking,
in defense.
I'm booking that he's going to be first team, like all Big 12, and he's going to do his job, which is
second team All-American by The Athletic today. The question is very simple. Who would you believe will be the biggest difference maker on this team? It'd probably be the second team All-American.
Oh, yeah.
So I will say
Or
Juwan Briggs, because if everybody else goes to the level that they're expected to go to, and Juwan Briggs has a better than and can be a difference maker, then all of a sudden, if Dante is a second team All-American as expected to be currently, if Juwan has a stellar season, I think that's a huge difference maker.
Yeah, but I see difference maker as like X factor. Like if this person is good, UC can be good. I'm expecting that front line to be good. And I think Dante Corleone isn't the biggest difference maker because of Juwan Briggs. So that's where I think Daniel Greshik comes in as an X factor, and then obviously Emory Jones.
We just
I got 2
interpreted
names.
the question differently.
I'm gonna take your names.
Of course you do.
And pick 2 other names. Braden Smith, because he has a chance to be a guy that moves the chains on an offense that is going to be about moving the chains. Can they move the chains consistently? I think we have a pretty good feel for they're going to be able to hit big plays. We've talked this week about all the big plays that they've hit. Who is going to be the guy to move the chains on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 4? Braden Smith looks to be that most logical option right now. And then my second guy, when they can't move the ball on 3rd and 6, Mason Fletcher. Because if he's going to continue to put opposing offenses 87 yards from the end zone, that's really hard to do against a good we think this is going to be a really good defense, right? If the opposing team has to go 87 yards every time to get a score, then Mason Fletcher is going to be the guy that is responsible for that many times.
We also will need Jim Tressel to be the head football coach in tandem with Mason.
Agreed.
The most important thing you can do is punt.
Chad, you brought out like that deep memory about that. I totally forgot about just like the Jimmy Smith with let's just get a couple first downs. Like that was
let's get 2 first downs and put him at the 12.
Yeah, because Fickle was just in his like Tressel bag back then.
Here is where Jimmy Smith was maybe one of my favorite punters ever. It never went in the end zone. 1 touchback in his entire fucking career. And that was a mistake.
Yeah,
it should have been down at the 1. It was a mistake. Like he never put it in the end zone. He pinned you from the 15 to the 1 almost every time. I think that's going to be Mason Fletcher this year. Although, like, we got to get a better feel on the Gunners. Like, we got to know who are the A+ Gunners this year.
Chad Brendel with the early Ray Guy Award for one Mason Fletcher.
I mean, listen to all those names we listed. Didn't even say like Miles Montgomery. There's some studs on the team. God damn. All right.
Brent.
So man.
Get the blood to the rest of your body. Like, get the blood to the rest of your body.
That's the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion of the mailbag. Finally, Jesus, that was a long segment. That was an hour. That was an hour segment on like 7 questions.
I don't
guess
know.
the obvious question right now.
I don't know what's going to happen with the waivers. I don't know.
All right, cool.
He came in hot.
Still going to ask. I guess the obvious question right now is, if we don't get waivers for Aziz or Jamil, what is the plan for adding a big, or are we sitting on what we got right now? Seems pretty late to me to be adding players. How late is too late? And let's just move this right into the another question here, which is, would UC be able to add any bigs if Aziz and Jamil are denied their waivers? I think those
Probably
two questions
not.
are hand in hand.
Just
Probably not.
tell Sage Tolentino the time is now, baby. Aloha.
I think the roster is what it is. The waivers are what they are. Hang loose.
Hang loose.
Here's the question
Order
I
a
have for you,
Mocha Loco.
Chad.
Shaka, bruh.
If one of them doesn't get the waivers, if neither of them do, where is the panic button located? Is it on the shelf? Is it out in its case? Is the case open? Are you hitting the panic button?
I have mine in my pocket.
Ryan's actually hitting it right now on his phone.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Chad?
I don't panic.
You don't panic. Okay.
I'm not going to make the joke that I was going to make because it makes people uncomfortable. So I'm not going to do it.
Moving on.
I mean,
Are you gonna say something like the panic button's in your ass or something?
No, I'm gonna say something along the lines of my wife died. I'm not
Saw it
panicking
coming.
over.
Saw it coming a
I'm not
mile
panicking.
away.
I'm not panicking over whether two guys get waivers or not to play college basketball.
It's so far from the panic buttons in my ass.
Yeah. Right.
I thought we were taking a more lighthearted take on it.
No. Nope.
Dark humor all the time. It's like
All
Punch
the
Drunk
time.
Love, the worst Adam Sandler movie.
I mean, it does. The recent happenings in football does kind of make it seem a little.
It's ominous.
It sucks. Yeah.
Just don't make it clap, Chad.
We'll see.
That button would be beeping.
Moving on.
That button ain't busting.
Has there been a second transfer waiver granted in any sport by the NCAA? It's probably something to look into and see what the facts of the cases that do get waivers granted versus those that do not.
It's gonna be really interesting because there's gonna be a bunch of mental health waivers that are denied or that have been denied that are going to be taken to court, that are going to be appealed, they're going to be challenged.
And then the season's going to be
basketball. Basketball is secondary in this wave. Like, I don't believe UC has officially submitted waivers on either guy yet. Like the official final waiver, because it only makes sense to kind of hold your cards right now and see what they're doing with all the other sports, and then adjust accordingly. We'll see. Do I feel great about either? No. Do I feel Aziz probably deserves a transfer waiver given all of the things that happened there? Yeah. Jamil, I feel less confident about that one because it doesn't seem to match up with like what the NCAA is trying to kind of put their foot down against. But we've also seen these situations where the NCAA tries to put their foot down and the court system, the legal system says, you guys are fucking wrong. And then everything flips. So I think it's important to kind of wait and see how this process plays out across the board. What happens in football, you know, the Florida State kid that like he came home to be close to his family, and like people that were in bad health or like whatever the case may be, that's all of a sudden like you're not allowed to go back home to be close to your family that's going through a tough time. Like, what are we doing? That's the thing that the NCAA is trying to put their foot down against.
Right.
The fuck out of here. What is wrong with you people where teams are just leaving their conference that they've been in for 100 years to go try to cash a check for $10 million more every year? But the kids that are caught in the middle of a coach leaving or a family member getting sick, or like those are the people that we're going to screw in this money grab process. The fuck out of here.
COVID seasons being lost, and you don't even play a game, and you're considered the whole thing is dumb. You've got board meetings with dudes in sand traps on golf courses, and that's the one that's a-okay, man. The whole thing is bad, but I think if they get at least just one, just get one, of
I
the
mean,
two.
that's Sam is not wrong. Just sue and play during the appeal process.
Yeah,
because if you sue and there's like a stay or a waiver, like if the courts are like, well, your case is not until April, you know what? Go fuck yourself, NCAA.
right.
Like, we'll play all the way till April.
Until they try and say that you lose that year of eligibility because you played through you suing and all of that.
Okay, well,
That's fine. You're off to the NBA.
Yeah, you're off to go make money. More
I
money.
mean, it's just
Whatever.
So stupid.
like you said, Chad. It's so dumb that they're putting their foot down on this topic.
But
I
it's the
agree.
only thing they feel like that's what's happening. It's like, well, we don't have another leg to stand on.
It's
so
a
we have
knee-jerk
to put our foot
reaction.
down on this.
It's a knee-jerk reaction to the players taking power from the NCAA and then being like, "What the fuck are we? What else are we gonna do? Because we've lost all power. So this is the one thing we're gonna take a stand on."
Yep.
Stupid. Ryan, as a former athlete, I would expect you to be as upset.
Yeah, I think the NCAA's had this problem of just dying on the wrong hills for a long time, and they kind of tried to right the ship with NIL, and in some ways they did. In some ways they opened Pandora's box, and now they're kind of stomping out all the good fire they had going with NIL and the transfer and letting guys be able to transfer. Now they're stomping out with conference realignment and doing these waiver bullshits. So you never know.
Once you open Pandora's box, you're in the box.
Yeah.
You can't get out of the box.
All right, are we still involved with portal guard Terrian Maddox or 6'8" Dylan Grant from Michigan, a late 23 reclass? That's something that only Chad can answer, and I'm not sure if he's around. So maybe we'll just push a pin in that.
Yeah.
Moving on. With a full roster, is this team more likely to play a pressing and trapping defense than Miller's previous UC teams? And if not, why not? Size at lead guard?
I mean, I would say yeah. I think Wes has been trying to install his pressing defense, as we saw last year in the beginning of the year, to a fault almost. He was trying to get that press going.
Tried his damnedest.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the two guards are the reason why, because they can really be attack at the top and really put pressure on, and depth pieces too, length on the wings.
Keegan, have you seen enough UC ball to add anything?
I'm not even going to try.
Fair enough. Understandable. Would UC be able – we already asked that one. What is the over-under for wins without Aziz and Jamil versus having both or at least one? I know we didn't talk about the scheduling. I think this kind of goes into the scheduling. I believe that was something that you did want to talk about, Brent, earlier on.
I mean, I
think this is where you get a chance to talk about the scheduling.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the whole it's kind of not like leaked, but like there's been tweets out there. Someone compiled Cincinnati's non-conference schedule. It's every game is in Cincinnati, whether it be I guess one's in Norwood, but everything else is in Cincinnati, including
technically out of the city of Cincinnati.
Right. Even the neutral game against Dayton is also in Cincinnati. So I mean, there's been a lot of clap back about that, and my favorite thing will be when they show that graphic. That like Texas Southern has traveled 15,000 miles in their non-conference, and Cincinnati has traveled 3 miles total.
Are you a little disappointed they didn't get an MTE? I'm a little disappointed.
I mean, those things are years in the making type situations. So
I'm sure Keegan's a little disappointed because he wanted to go to Hawaii or Maui or something, or something in the Caribbean with the new allotment
or Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole being in the Big 12 covers up a lot of those sores, but it raises the importance to win that Xavier game or that Dayton game, just so that you have, one non-conference game where you can kind of say like, okay, well, neutral court Dayton, we won. At Xavier was a win, because if you kind of stub your toe a little bit, especially against some of those other teams, the margin for error in the Big 12 is a lot slimmer. So I don't know. We'll see. It's interesting. It's fascinating. Not leaving Cincinnati. Wild.
I'm putting the over under. It's we're looking at least if how many non-conference games are there? 12, right?
12 or 13.
So if you're playing all of them at home or in a very close proximity to home, then your over under has to be somewhere around 18, right?
You think only 6 out of 18 wins in the conference?
I'm just saying. I would think you're somewhere between 18 and 20. I wouldn't go much higher than that.
Right.
Your first year in a new conference as you're stepping up a conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where is you, Mr. Betting aficionado?
Man, if Aziz and Jamil are both eligible, ceiling is the roof, baby.
This is without.
Without both, man. That
18's looking more reasonable.
Yeah, it makes it more difficult. But I think even still, the good thing about that non-conference is you can raise the confidence of your team and you can make them feel like they are meshing well. But then the competition takes a huge leap up. But still,
you get punched in the mouth.
But confidence can kind of help you out a little bit there to cover up that disparity. But I don't know. Overall, it would be tough to really have.
Going higher than 20? You saying 22?
I don't know. I'm not going to put a number on it because I'm going to hold out and still pray every day that Aziz and Jamil play.
All right. Keegan, anything else to add to that?
I think the 18 to 20 number would be right around where I would be. I'm trying to remember who they're playing in the conference.
Everyone in the Big 12.
Is it literally everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
But and then like 6 are at and 6 are home, and then 6 are both.
Or I think
4-4-4.
I would say the first year in the Big 12 is going to be interesting. I'm trying to think of who they would definitely beat. BYU, UCF, maybe Iowa State, but still Iowa State's always been really solid. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma's on the up and up.
They are, but even
Porter Moser's doing a good job.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. That is unless Chad comes back. I don't know where he went. That's the basketball portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the last portion, I feel like this portion always makes Ryan laugh more than anybody because it never goes rapid fire. But good evening, gents. Welcome to Rapid Fire, where Aaron soul dies slowly every week. By the way, Skins had me pegged on where I bought. He sent me a DM where I bought my Cincy Light this weekend, and it terrified me that he knew exactly where I bought my Cincy Light. Terrified me. Look at the bright side, Aaron. I did not come up with the money for you to do a Rice preview. If Bearcat Reigns were to work jointly with a whiskey or bourbon distiller, who would you prefer? That's the first portion of the Banks portion of the mailbag.
Don't know enough.
Screwball. I don't know.
Little peanut butter, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Woodford.
Okay.
Woodford Reserve.
How about Pappy Van Bearcat?
I feel like this is a very Chad question. I'm waiting for him.
It is. Where'd he go?
Here.
Maker's
I don't
Mark.
know.
Pappy
Taking care
Van
of-
Bearcat. How about that?
Buffalo Trace Joe Rogan Whiskey Bearcat Edition.
I like that.
Blanton's Bearcat.
Bland's Bearcat alliteration coming back.
And then put a Bearcat mascot instead of the horse.
Did you know there is a Bearcat bourbon out there already, but it's not affiliated with UC.
Kenyon Martin's Maker's Mark.
Ooh, Kenyon Maker's Mark.
Kenyon Martin's Mark.
Interesting.
Nick Van Whiskey.
Ooh, Nick Van Pappy.
Jesus sandals or
Yeah, I just same thing.
Sauce Wellner. I don't know.
Jesus sandals or flip flops.
Flip flops.
Flip flops.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say that.
I don't put anything between my toes. I can't
What are
handle it.
It was like
Grosses
Wait,
me
which
out.
one is that?
Like
I like the
Birkenstocks
toes
or
one.
flip-flops?
I like the feet thong.
I'm here for slides all day. Slides.
Yeah.
So neither.
Supreme slides.
Cat Williams or this is so much better than when Chat. Oh, he's back. Son of
Sorry,
a bitch.
Kelsey turned the washer on, and it sounded like our house was going to flood. So I had to try to figure out what the hell was going on in our house.
I was hoping you'd be gone until we finished the rapid fire.
Yeah, I was going to come back for rapid fire for sure.
So here we are. Your take on if Bearcat Reigns were to work jointly with a whiskey or bourbon distiller, who would you prefer?
I mean, I've always been a big Woodford guy, so I guess Woodford.
Royer.
I got you.
Jesus sandals or flip flops?
Or Four Roses. Slides.
I'm with you on slides. And Cat Williams or Roy Wood Jr.
Roy Wood
Cat
Jr.
Williams. Cat
I don't
Williams.
know
Cat
if I've
Williams.
listened to Roy Wood.
I don't know who that is.
Roy Wood's good. I prefer Cat Williams.
Cat Williams' voice is.
Dave
I know that's the shtick, but
That's his shtick. Like, that's the point.
And P.S. Aaron, I left you a case of Cincy Light behind the Duncan on 48. Again, terrified that he knows where I was when I bought, and that isn't where I bought my Cincy Light, but that's very close to where I bought my Cincy Light. Terrified.
Yeah, he's on to you.
The last question, Chad, you were gone for. Are we still involved with Portal Guardian, Tyrion Maddox, or 6'8" Dylan Grant from Michigan, a late 23 reclass? Question mark.
Maddox, no. Dylan Grant he reclassed from 23 to 24. I don't think so. Like, I think you got Tyler McKinley. You're pretty good on the forward portion of your recruiting class. I like Dylan Grant a lot, but I think Cincinnati, especially with the way that Tyler McKinley played at NBA Players Camp and then into like the Peach Jam, I think Cincinnati's pretty happy with Tyler McKinley.
I mean, now he's coming home for
Well,
both
we knew that. I
high
heard
school
that weeks ago.
and Bearcats.
Until he attends Winton Woods and decides that he doesn't want to go to the UC because nobody from Winton Woods ever goes to UC. That's the mailbag. Get us out of here,
That's a
Brent.
Football coach problem.
Chad, you went away from my Texas Southern 15,000 miles of travel in their non-conference, and Bearcats 3. That's good. That's going to be a graphic. That is going to be a graphic.
Yeah.
100%.
One of them is going to make a shit ton of money,
Right.
and the other is UC.
Right. Buy game for both.
Sorry,
teams.
I thought my house was about to be flooded. The danger of being a single parent and doing this for 2 hours and 43 minutes is that Kelsey does things on her own while I am here, and it sounded like my house was going to flood with water, and I had to figure out why that was happening.
Danger.
I think we're okay.
Again, that's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent.
Hey, you know what, guys? Gosh, golly darn.
Probably not a nightcap tonight. I need to make sure my house isn't underwater when I wake up in the morning.
It was one heck of a show. Big shout out, big thank you to Danco Joe at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Big shout out.
Oh! I forgot to tell you guys. So Friday, my dad is like a big cornhole guy. Like he goes to these, like there's places around town where they have like cornhole tournaments, like every weekend, and they're like pretty big deals. And so my dad goes to one Friday night, and I get a picture Saturday morning. Guess who was my dad's cornhole partner Friday night?
Satterfield.
Taylor Swift.
Danco.
Joe.
Yeah, he loves the cornhole, man. He has the.
They were partners. They were partners.
At Danco, you know that.
Yeah, they used to have these events at Danco.
You played at Danco?
They do like cornhole tournaments at Danco.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I guess they haven't been able to do the tournaments there this year or whatever. So the folks, like, they have a whole team. Like, they got like 20 guys that show up in the Danco like uniforms. And it just so happened that Danco and my dad were partners. And eventually my dad was like, "Do you know my son?" And Danco's like, Joe was like, "Who?" And he's like, "Chad Brendel." And Danco Joe's like, Yeah, I know your son. Like, we're business partners. And they were partners in the tournament. So yeah, I thought that's something I would have talked about at the beginning of the show.
Right.
If, my daughter didn't play volleyball.
And we sucked. I hate my team. I hope they all die.
Whoa. Holy shit.
It was a rough night.
I couldn't get him out of here quick enough.
They didn't
Get us out of here, Brent.
Hey, shout out to Danco Joe. Love you. Big shout out there. Shout out to Quick Paper Supply timestamps. And shout out to our man, Keegan Nicholson, for joining us. Thank you. Great job, Keegan. Fantastic debut on the BP. But hey, for my guys, my pals, my partners, the OGs. That's right, Aaron Smith, Chad Brennan, Ryan Royer. I am Brent Young. Yet again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.